Good morning to you. My name is Lily Mohammed. You're welcome to another edition of GH Today. A day after the embassy, Ghana's embassy in Washington, D.C. was shut down temporarily by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. What does this mean to our international relations? What does it mean even to the services that are being rendered there? Does it mean that if you're a Ghanaian resident in the United States, then you have to, if you need consular services, or even a foreigner who needs consular services, you have to go to New York to the consular office? What does it mean for the various offices in that particular embassy? It begs a lot of questions. Now, the Chief Justice, Gertrude Sakitokuno, has filed an additional affidavit at the Supreme Court. We'll also talk about that here on the show. Then the OSP has lost another case in the former New Juaben MC nominee case, where there was a viral video. This man allegedly stated in that video that Assembly members are taking money from him. They should return his money after they failed to pass him for the MCE slot. The OSP investigated him. He was taken to court. The court has thrown out that particular case. It's been running for about 3 years now, but the OSP has lost that case. And many are asking the question, has the OSP really, that office, lived up to its expectations? That and more we'll discuss here on the show. But let me start by motivating you. Our quote of the day is by Lauren Ash, who says, at the end of the day, life is too short to worry. Very, very profound. Life is too short to worry. Whatever thing that you're worried about, you're worried that, oh, what would I do tomorrow? Tomorrow will come anyway. You're worrying about, oh, the next couple of hours. They will come anyway, because guess what? The clock keeps ticking. Stop worrying. Take an initiative. Even if you fail, there are so many ways to kill a cat. You will always succeed at the end. So life is too short. Do not worry. I know that for a lot of young people in our part of the world, you wake up every morning and you're worried about where your next meal is going to come from. You probably don't have a job. Even if you have a job, sometimes it is not satisfactory. But don't worry. Life is way, way too short. It will pass you by if you keep worrying. So please don't worry. That's our way of motivating you this morning. Let me help you, of course, improve your English language writing and speaking.
Today's word is Z-I-N-G. Zing. It's a noun. Zing is a quality that makes something interesting or exciting. Let's exemplify it. The director told the actor to add a bit of zing to his character to hook the audience. Zing.
Anyway, that's quite an interesting word there. But let me pump you up a little bit. So it's morning, you don't feel like getting up. Get up. Let me pump you up as you go about earning your keep.
GHOne OV van has been one of the best vans I've used personally in this country. It runs a system where we are able to run on Dante to be able to do our broadcast mixed well also from this van.
I've used this OB van for quite a number of big productions, i.e. 3 music awards, the late President Rollis' state funeral, Emmys Africa Awards, and a number of them.
My experience with the GHOne van has been the state of the art equipment they have. Personal experience is you can use it for both indoor and outdoor, all events, conferencing, like anything you need a van to work for you, GHOne provides it. My experience with the van has been very good. Why? Because it has a number of facilities that I may not get in other vans. You know, the van has a very wide bench that can accommodate all my technical crew. ICCU, switcher, graphics, CG, and all of that. And then it also has a studio, a green room studio that comes with TriCaster. So if you want somebody to do commentary on a live event, you can put that presenter who's
in that studio as well and get that running.
To give an experience to our audience, we're also watching on TVs and online. Work with an Exo technology system, which makes your video mixing with Panasonic cameras, like a lot of other stuff in terms of content you need to get also for your live broadcasts.
I prefer the GHOne van to a lot of other vans I've used, or even doing my own setup on a tabletop setup, because on a production you see a number of people in the van, and so if you have a very small van, it means that it's going to be choked, and that will affect the creativity as well. The price has been discounted as well to accommodate varied budgets, and so no matter the budget you have, I understand you can have the track and do business with it.
It looks huge, but very affordable. Cost is really, really affordable. My experience with it, EMI Awards last year, super excellent. Try it, call them, and I'm going to give you the best of price. Really affordable.
Good day. So that's our video of the day this morning. Let's now head for Inside Out. On Inside Out this morning, we talk about the Republic versus Safo Kantanka. Now, this was an MC nominee under the Eswald and Jantuah Kufado administration in 2021. There was a viral video of him where he stated in that particular video that assembly members who are taking monies from him to confirm him for the MC nomination slot, but failed to do so, should return his monies. Now, after that particular video, the OSP invited him. He was summoned, and then there was a case against him. He was taken to court. It's been brewing since 2022 till now. And now, yesterday, High Court in Kumasi threw out that particular case that the OSP presented to the court. And many are asking, really, okay, so how many cases has the OSP successfully prosecuted, and what does this mean to that office? Has the OSP just become a rubber stamp institution where it just goes after people needlessly, or it is really going according to its mandate? And is this not an additional mandate of other constitutional bodies like SHRAJ? So why do we still keep that particular office when we are highly funding it by the state? Now let me read to you the case fact file. I mentioned to you that somewhere in 2021, Safo Kantanka allegedly bribed 26 Juaben municipal assembly members to secure nomination as municipal chief executive. Now, November 2021, the OSP commenced investigation into the case. May 2022, the OSP charged Safo Kantanka on 26 counts of corruption. Then again, in June 2022, Safo Kantanka pleads not guilty to all these 26 counts. Then fast forward to October 2022, trial commences at the Kumasi High Court, and then the OSP closed its case in 2023 July. November 2023, the accused filed submission of no case. 29th November 2023, that same year, the OSP filed written responses to the submission of no case by the accused. Fast forward. In April 2024, the court dismissed the submission of no case. Then Safo Kantanka files an appeal at the Court of Appeal and concurrently files for a stay of proceedings at the Kumasi High Court. But then again, they both fail. In November 2024, a date was set for judgment, however, was adjourned after the presiding judge was transferred. Fast forward, 2025 came, the case continuously was transferred, and then on 26th May, Safo Kantanka was acquitted and discharged. What really did the OSP find in his investigation, 26 counts. How come he's been exonerated of all 26 counts of corruption and corruption-related offenses? Let me hear from you. What are your thoughts generally about the Office of the Special Prosecutor? Call me now and let me hear from you. The phone numbers are on your screen. Beyond Suffolk and Tanka, the OSP has prosecuted a number of cases. The OSP has put out a number of communiques, even on the cases it is pursuing, notable among which is the Charles Bisu case. We've talked about it a number of times here on the show, and even the OSP going further ahead to declare former finance minister a fugitive of law. Many say that the OSP lacks convictions to prosecute. It's been nearly 8 years since the establishment of that particular office. How many cases has it successfully prosecuted to the end? And what has been the benefit of the Office of the Special Prosecutor to the state? There are other statutory bodies, the SHRAJ, but has it taken over the mandate of SHRAJ? Has it, for want of a better expression, rendered SHRAJ almost useless? Let me hear from you. The phone numbers are on your screen. Call me. Let's talk about it here on the show. All right, unfortunately, I'll not be able to take some calls this morning. That's it for Inside Out. We'll talk about the Chief Justice. She's filed a new affidavit. She says that her rights are being trampled upon. She says she's suffering abuse. But what do you think about it? Let me know on our various social media pages. Up next is Court Today. Today, Captain has joined me. I elevated him yesterday. He's looking very dapper this morning. Captain, good morning.
Good morning,
Do you
Lily.
have a date today?
Today, I have a date with you when I'm here.
I like that.
I like that. I'm here. I'm here to honor that date.
Well,
yesterday, you elevated me.
Yes.
And I appreciate that because I look forward to that day. But pressure and worship.
Anyway, what's up in courts this morning?
Yeah, Lily, a lot has been happening. And ever since the issue of our Lady Chief Justice came to the fore and the subsequent suspension, a lot has been happening. The committee has begun its work. In fact, day 5 is already in. The Chief Justice has appeared.
Yesterday the committee sat.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But a lot is happening. Even aside the committee, the traditional courts, actions upon actions, supplementary affidavit processes, and all of that. We've seen some injunctions already gone by, dismissed, and all of that. But what we do know latest is the fact that the Lady Chief Justice has issued a writ. On top of that, he's asked the court to stop the processes by way of an interlocutory injunction. And on top of the interlocutory injunction, he's also come to add some more additional grounds or additional processes to the court by way of affidavit in opposition. So as you can see on your screens, yesterday, 26th of May 2025, the Lady Chief Justice went back to the Supreme Court with more processes to add to what she has already filed before the court. And we want to share with you this morning and in that particular supplementary affidavit, Lily, she's been alleging some abuse, infringement of human rights, mental torture by way of the environment, how the whole place is a security zone. She's been having issues with that. But let's share with you the details.
She has issues with the place of hearings?
Yes.
Being a security zone?
Absolutely.
She didn't want a security zone?
That I am unable to.
Because I'm wondering. That's the only one I'm curious about. That's the only issue, because she's the Lady Chief Justice.
Absolutely.
Security
has to
yes.
In fact,
you sit on the third arm of government.
Absolutely, and that cannot be taken.
That cannot be taken.
So
for
I remember
granted.
the first day that the committee sat on the 15th of May. I was at the venue, and you note that I did not even disclose the exact venue, and I did also indicate the security presence in the area and all of that. And in fact, in the early hours of that day, there were numbers there, but because they did not want to heighten tension in the area, they dispelled all the people there, and then the place was very, very calm and all of that. But the Lady Chief Justice has been saying a lot. She's been saying a lot by way of the supplementary affidavit that was filed yesterday. So as you can see on your screens, supplementary affidavit in support of motion for interlocutory injunction. That is what the Lady Chief Justice, through her lawyers, has filed at the Supreme Court. And this one, she filed it personally. Justice Gertrude Araba Esaba Saki Tokonu, and she gives the additional information about the fact that she's there. This is coming from the Chief Justice's residence in Accra, and make oath. And the oath that she made, she's making the following additional information known to the court. So the first that she pointed to, or she spoke about, was that I am a citizen of Ghana, the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, and deposed to this affidavit on matters within my knowledge, information, and belief. The second point she made is to the effect that on the 21st day of May 2025, I instituted the instant action for reliefs endorsed on the rate of sermon. So the instant action has to do with the main case and the affidavit, the interlocutory injunction. She went on to say that on the same 21st day of May 2025, I filed an application for interlocutory injunction seeking the relief stated on the motion paper, and we have shared that with you earlier. Director, let's move. That I respectfully seek leave of this court. And when you file processes at the court, and you want to add more, you have to seek leave of the court, ask the permission of the court to be able to file those processes. So it's a process that happens in court all the time. Seek leave of this honorable court to bring to the court's attention various developments since the filing of the present application, which evidence a complete desecration of my basic constitutional rights to a fair trial, violation of my dignity and subjection to inhuman and degrading treatment. Those are very strong words. Of a kind not meted out to even accuse person on trial for treason.
That's quite strong.
That's very. Treason is a constitutional offense. And that is serious. The Lady Chief Justice
is saying that, for an accused person who's on trial for treason did not go through what she is going through.
An accused person standing trial, you are as innocent as you and I,
until proven guilty.
So nobody is supposed to suffer any form of
injustice.
Absolutely. Let's move on. And other offenses against the state. That I was informed by my lawyer, Kwame Edukusi, that the proceedings of the committee set out by the president to inquire into the 3 petitions filed against me had been adjourned to a day after the commencement of our action in this honorable court, that is May 22nd May. So we did mention to the fact that on the 15th, when the committee started its work, the Lady Chief Justice was not present. The second time was adjourned to a week later, which is on the 22nd. And she makes the point that 21st, she filed her processes and the committee sat on 22nd. She was thinking that once the committee received her processes, which indeed, going forward, you understand that. Director, let's check the next one. That on the 22nd of May 2025, I appeared before the committee. So that was the very first time that the Lady Chief Justice
made an appearance.
Right. That was also the committee's second sitting. And we did indicate that the committee was not happy that she missed the very first sitting. Committee, together with my lawyers, and informed the committee members of the suit I had instituted against the Attorney General and the committee members, in response to which the committee requested to receive copies of the processes filed and adjourned proceedings to the following day, that is Friday. Last week Friday, we told you about the fact that the committee want to receive and will decide whether to proceed. And after on Friday, the committee sat. Even indeed, that was when the hearing started officially by way of witnesses coming in. On 23rd of May 2025, notwithstanding receipt of the processes filed in the Supreme Court, including the application for interlocutory injunction, the members of the committee indicated their resolve to proceed with the conduct of this inquiry or the inquiry. Okay, let's look at the next one. So, despite being informed of the pendency of the interlocutory injunction, the committee said we are continuing with our work. That this was so, even though I have to date not been told the basis for the determination of a prima facie case against me and the specific allegations in respect of which a prima facie case has been established for me to answer, to enable me determine my legal rights or adequately prepare a defense to the charges against me. So all the argument that they have made in respect of even the other injunctions that have come to the court is to the effect that there are no reasons given to her as to why a prima facie has been established. But that day, one of the justices asked a common question on the face of it. What's your literal understanding of a prima facie? Don't go into the law and all of that. And I remember the parties in court saying that, yes, on the face of it, without even going into the merits of it, you have to look at it, okay, A, B, C, D. Should somebody answer questions? So you need not to even go into the D. So that is just on the face of looking at the document and all of that. But we will continue with what the Lady Chief Justice has been saying. Said that on the previous adjourned date of the committee sitting on 15th May, that was the first time the committee sat, at which I was represented by counsel, the committee refused to recognize my counsel simply because I was not personally present, and proceeded to fix subsequent hearing dates and makes arrangement for the hearing without involving my counsel, even though he was present. The committee shockingly simply refused to recognize the same counsel on whom it had served a hearing notice only a day before. Okay, so those are some of the things that the Lady Chief Justice has stated in her supplementary affidavit for interlocutory injunction. She went on to say that the committee on the said 23rd of May, contrary to known rules regulating proceedings of the commissions of inquiry, indicated that the petitioners shall not give evidence themselves. Wow. So in this case, what she's saying is that the petitioners who petitioned the president for her removal, her potential removal, saying that they will not testify themselves. So that brings to
why? Well,
and he said, but shall be calling other witnesses to give evidence to support their petition. And in law, I know that it happens so many times. There's so many criminal cases that I have seen in court that the accused persons at some point in time would decide that personally I will not testify. Dr. Stephen Kobnopuni is one of them. The ambulance case, Dr. Kasiel Atoforsin is one of them. And you notice that even in the election petition, the second one against the EC chairperson, when the petitioners closed their case, Jane Mensah decided and said that no, personally I will not speak. And note that the controversy that particular issue brought to the country, but shall not be calling other witnesses to give evidence to support the petition. Okay, so now the petitioner wants to speak through witnesses. So let's look at the other one. Okay, I think now we have missed the step again. Okay, so let's look at the next one, Director. Then we'll hear some of the things that Lady Chief Justice has been making in respect of the surrounding the security zone where the meeting is taking place, the fact that she was being searched and all of that, the fact that her husband, the children were not allowed to be closer to them in all of that. So those are some of the things that the Lady Chief Justice has been saying by way of the injunction or the interlocutory injunction that she has filed at the Supreme Court, but the committee is saying that yes, we have seen the processes that you have filed at the Supreme Court, but at this particular point in time, the committee will proceed with its work. The committee will not wait for the outcome of the Supreme Court until such time that the Supreme Court issues an express order for the committee to stop its work. For now, what they intend to do is to continue with whatever processes that are before the court and all of that. Let me share more with you, Lily, in respect of what the Lady Chief Justice has been saying in relation to the issues that she has found. And those points are very interesting one, of course. And she also makes the point that if you look at this whole matter, let me point this very well to you. And I thought that would sound very interesting. So she makes the point that the other development, like the denial of access into the hearing room for my husband and children, searches on my body, denial of access to telephones and laptops for myself and my lawyers, even though counsel for the petitioners have access to their phones and laptops, and the conduct of the hearing itself in a high security zone at the premises of the castle. Also, you note that so the Chief Justice is giving her information where she is and
exactly,
where the meeting is taking place at this particular point in time. She makes the point that Osu shows a deliberate effort to subject me to mental torture and degrading treatment in violation of my fundamental human rights. She also makes the point that all Article 146 proceedings, with the exception of the one that I am being subjected to, had hitherto been held in the judicial facility, specifically the court complex. The location of proceedings affecting me to be a cordon high security facility boggles the minds. That the persistent violation of my constitutional rights show that the whole proceedings initiated against me are a mockery of justice and a ruse to unjustifiably remove me from office as the Chief Justice. And she concluded by saying that I respectfully pray for this honorable court, that the Supreme Court intervention by the grant of an interlocutory injunction to prevent the assault on judicial independence and protect the security of the tenure of the Chief Justice and the Superior Court judges. So these are what are contained in the supplementary affidavit filed by the suspended Chief Justice. But Lily, the Office of the Attorney General has been responding by way of affidavit in opposition, but because of time, tomorrow that will be our main highlight for the day. And tomorrow is the day that the Supreme Court will deal with that particular subject and all of that. So that is it with respect to the latest updates from the Office of the suspended Chief Justice.
What's the latest with regards to the SkyTrain? So yesterday I engaged you on Newsroom briefly on that.
The day that you elevated me.
Yes.
So yesterday, Professor Christopher Ameyaokunfi, I mentioned that it was the first time way back in school, secondary school, been hearing the name Professor Ameyaokunfi and all of that. Today is the day. Yesterday was the day that I got closer. And yesterday she was in court. She was in a wheelchair, suggesting that yes, Professor Ameyaokunfi was not well. She tendered himself in together with his lawyers. His plea was taken in relation to the counts that he was involved in, including willfully causing financial loss. And then the court, presided over by Justice Comfort Asiame, admitted him to bail in the sum of 10 million Ghana cedis with two sureties, and the sureties the court are saying all of them should be justified with landed properties registered within the jurisdiction of Accra. Copies of the Ghana card and their digital locations should be made available to authorities. And he, as Professor Christopher Ameyaokunfi, is also to surrender his passport, report to the case investigators once every week, unlike the other accused person who's supposed to report 3 times in a week. And his bail sum was 15 million Ghana cedis with sureties and all of that. And we're told that he's 80 years of old. So yesterday he appeared, his plea was taken, and then granted bail in relation to the Sky Train. $2 million alleged financial loss to the state. Absolutely.
Was Kwame Dubois in court yesterday?
So for the first time, his lawyers, led by Samuel Atachia, indicated to the court that all the accused persons are on bail, and they are on bail, so they came directly from home. So there's no issue about the national security Yoko picking up anybody. All of them are on bail. And yesterday, an interesting development came to the court when the court has to make an order. But before the court made an order, prosecution indicated to the court, explained to the court circumstances leading to it not able to comply with an order to file their disclosure document and witness statement and all of that. So what the court did was that it said one of their key investigators is indisposed, and they needed him to sign portions of the processes before it is filed, and they hope that by Friday he will be in. Then at the end, they approached the bench. Even before the whole thing started, they approached the bench before Justice John Eugene Nyantenyedu asked of the business of the day, where the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Justice Shremsai, informed the court about the challenge they had by way of not filing the process and requested for a short date. Lawyers for Kwame Dubois and the wife, the other accused person, did not oppose to that. They make reference to Article 88, which gives the Attorney General the power to initiate and conduct criminal matters and all of that. They said, we will not stop them, we will not stand in their way. Then the court made an order for the AG to file the witness statement by June 2nd. Then the case was adjourned to June 11. But before adjourning the case to June 11, the court said the court is making an order that no pre-bargaining agreement will be initiated until such time that the accused persons receive all disclosure document from the office of the Attorney General. Then we were curious to find out, has any of the parties start to negotiate? Or in this case, before you start a plea bargaining, it is the accused person who will have to go approach the Attorney General and say that we want a plea bargaining, we are coming with a proposal to pay the money, or this is our proposal, so that at the end they in exchange for a lesser punishment. But all the parties have been denying that. We spoke to Samuel Atachia moments after the court sitting, have been asking him, have you approached the AG for plea bargaining processes?
No, there's nothing on the table for us to plea bargain.
What do you make of the delay of the prosecution in filing the disclosures as of now?
I'm not too sure. Maybe the issue will be with the Attorney General. Let's give him the space to prosecute the case. And let's respect the fact that if an Attorney General wants an adjournment, then we shouldn't challenge it.
The case of plea bargaining, if neither the AG or prosecution or yourself.
Because it's a variable. It's a variable in the case management process. Yeah, it's a variable. So he's thinking elastic, but we've not made any overtures relating to plea bargaining.
Is it because you have not seen the volume of evidence against your client by way of prosecution or filing disclosure processes?
It's out of the way for one measure, and we keep saying that people do not understand, and I don't want to do a media trial. That this case has national security ramifications.
The last time we were in court, your client had been kept in bail before, on remand because of a separate case, the Ghana Water Limited. Have you so far been briefed? What is the issue with that?
Well, it's also got to do with Ghana Water Company Limited seeking help from national security, give them all the surveillance and mechanism so that we could police the sanctity of water in the realm. So that's another national security matter.
Well, nothing wrong by your client there?
Well, at the moment it's very innocent by the terms of the Constitution, and to prove it otherwise. But what is happening now, I'm afraid people don't understand. It's deeper than what is being presented.
So that is Samuel Atachia, who is counsel for Kwame Dubois, Angela Ejibuatin, Major Donko, and of course Advantage Solution, the company in the mix of all of that. He said there's nothing on the table by way of plea bargaining. But one of the things that also work in relation to this is the fact that before case management conference, all of these issues will have to come to the table for consideration. But it looks possible that probably somebody somewhere is thinking about plea bargaining in respect of this. But we'll keep monitoring that, and then in our subsequent appearance and updates, once we have anything to show. So that is the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Justice Shemsai, entering the court yesterday when the matter came up. So that's all we have for you by way of court today. But you expect some updates on the Attorney General's affidavit in opposition to the Chief Justice's interlocutory injunction. That will come up at the Supreme Court tomorrow.
All right, Captain, thank you very much. So that's Mutala Yunusa. He's our legal affairs correspondent with court today. Let's look at what the newspapers are reporting this morning. On the front page of the Daily Post, Ablakwa catches NPP thieves at Ghana's embassy in the U.S. How is this an NPP thief? Sometimes I really... Subdued Chairman Wontumi to report at CID headquarters today will sustain fiscal discipline after IMF exits. That's according to President Mahama. First Lady Lordina Mahama launches Ghana School's 65th anniversary, praises school's legacy. The Overseer newspaper says, pass on CD gains to Ghanaians. Mahama urges businesses. BOG Governor City's appreciation not artificially influenced. CMC MD calls for innovation and sustainability in food processing. Coming up, fight against looting of state lands disregarded as government renews Clement Jatu's license. The Daily Searchlight. Reckless in the Banana Republic? Okay. Ablakwa shuts down embassy over one man's crimes. Disclosures must precede plea deal talks. Court rules in Edubohene case, Edubohene trial, I beg your pardon. Deregister drivers who resist fair CAT's international demands. Scrap Premix Fuel Subsidy Committee urges government, and Professor Amiao Ekunfi granted 10 million cedis bail over alleged role in SkyTrain deal. That's it for the Daily Searchlight. The Chronicle. Kumasi Prime Minister granted bail. Professor Amir Kumfi given 10 million cedis bail. KGL's Alex Dade is CEO of the Year for the third time. The BNFT. Maintaining fiscal discipline remains top priority. That's according to President John Dramani Mahama. BOG dismisses export fears as city rallies. PURC convenes emergency stakeholder meeting over recent electricity challenges, and gold sector welcomes extension of licensing deadline. The Daily Graphic. 2,637 ECG containers retrieved, and it comes with a picture of the Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Abdullahi Jinapo. Graphic GCB Bank strengthening partnership. Ghanaian nurse wins $250,000 global award. That's some good news for us. And these are some of the stories being reported by the various newspapers. You can grab copies on your various newsstands, or you can log online to read all about these stories. Alternatively, log on to starfm.com.gh or Accra Online. We have a host of stories for you to read. My name is Lily Mohammed. I return after this breather with my guests as we dissect all the issues of national interest. Please stay tuned. You're welcome back to the show. This is still GH Today here on GHOne TV. I am Lily Mohammed. My guests have taken their seats for the breakfast review. We're waiting one more guest, but we have it's interesting how on Tuesdays is a battle of the Esquires. I have been joined in studio this morning by two lawyers. Theophilus Dzimega Jr. Esquire is a member of the NDC Communications team. Kwame Jantuah Esquire is a leading member of the Convention People's Party. We are waiting Kwasi Kwarteng Esquire, who's a member of the NPP Communications team. He's the man who is connected, but a lot of things to discuss. Primarily, the shutting down temporarily of Ghana's embassy in the United States. What does it mean for Ghana's international relations? Does it mean that all the other offices attached to the embassy will equally stop working, or it is just a consular section? Mind you, it was shut down because of an alleged fraud involving one Frederick Kwarteng. And yesterday, I listened to Kofi Tonto on a sister network, who was at one point at the head of information at the at Ghana's embassy in the United States in Washington D.C., who said that at some point this particular Frederick Kwarteng guy was under investigation by them, and he asked Kofi Tonto to shush, and that he was going to bring him an amount of some $10,000 because he didn't work alone. If this had been going on for 5 years, what were the internal processes, internal auditing processes doing all about this? But let me hear from my guest this morning. This borders on even Ghana's image abroad. Theophilus, you are very familiar with the United States and Ghana's relations with the United States. Many have questioned why the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will close down entirely Ghana's representation in the United States. Mind you, we have bilateral relations with the U.S. There are offices, there are trade attaches, political economic attaches, there are other offices, defense attaches in that particular embassy. Why close down the entire embassy because of a particular fraudulent activity in a section?
Let me start this way, the Ghana way, by saying hello to your viewers, particularly my younger brother.
Oh!
Yes, Nathaniel to be aka Natty Boy.
Okay.
Happy birthday, Nat. But there's one thing we are losing focus, or we seem not to pay attention to, the fact that Ghana actually has two embassies in the US.
One in New York.
One is in New York. So, and primarily the one in New York meant to handle the United Nations. So that is the one in New York. However, from the statement by the...
Theophilus, you may want to hold on for me. I've lost your sound out there to the public. So I want that fixed quickly so that...
Yeah.
And now I understand you are audible to the audience. So please go ahead with your submission.
I started by saying that, let me do it the Ghana way, by saying good morning to all your viewers at the moment, and also to wish my younger brother, Nathaniel, Natty Boy, Joby, a very happy birthday. Fast forward.
I have to take Mr. Jantuah's thoughts. Mr. Jantuah.
Good morning to our viewers.
Good morning.
Good morning to yourself. How are you doing, Lily?
I'm doing awesome.
Hope everything is fine.
Yes.
Good. With regards to this particular issue, do we know the full facts of the situation?
Not
we don't.
The full facts, yeah.
Do we know whether it is widespread within the embassy? We don't know. So, for me, not unless we know what the entire situation is, let's tread cautiously. Yes, if it is a case that is isolated to a particular department in the embassy, then you would ask the question, why shut the entire embassy down? But if it's a case where it seems to have spread through the embassy, where corruption is taking place, where staff of the embassy are doing things that are untoward, then perhaps the minister would be in the right position to say, let's shut down and investigate. By the way, how many days has it been shut down for?
Well, it was immediate effect. It was yesterday.
Yes, and
but yesterday was a holiday in the US.
Yes, holiday in the US. So how long has it been shut down? Do we know?
Temporarily.
1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. Maybe the minister should come back and clarify better for us. You see, this is where sometimes it is good to give the information and the entire information for the general public to understand what actually is going on. So that when certain actions are taken, people can align with those actions. When I heard it, the first question that came to me was, if this is isolated in a particular department, why close down the entire embassy? What about, because the entire embassy doesn't only serve visas.
Exactly. There are
other offices in the embassy that not only Ghanaians will come there, but foreigners, Americans, other people who are interested in Ghana would come over to the embassy to seek information and probably have meetings with the Ghanaian staff that are there, depending on the particular thing that they want to find out. So maybe the minister should come back again and give us detailed information. What I don't want to happen, and I hope it's not down that line, where there are Ghanaians who have been hired by the previous government. And this is now going to be used as probably a yardstick to clear people out. I hope it is not down that track. Because to be in the foreign service means you must have some degree of experience.
Sure.
You must have some degree of capacity. There are career diplomats who are also there. There are those who have worked through the foreign service here and have been taken out there to serve the country. What I don't understand, why would anybody want to do corruption in that country? You've been put in a position of authority, you're put in a position to serve, and you go and do what? Go and do corruption. You go and, from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, they were charging more than the required fees. How is that possible? And are you saying that the ambassador there, is there an ambassador there now? Has there been an ambassador appointed? No. So it's probably the chancellor who would head the
who
embassy,
acts as the head of mission.
Exactly, who acts as the head of mission. I don't know whether the foreign minister has had a deep discussion with the chancellor who is there now. But as I said, we don't know the real facts of why the minister has closed it down. And I'm sure before the minister closed it down, he probably spoke with the president about it, because the Ghana embassy in America is very strategic to the country, extremely strategic. And as counsel said, there's one in New York that has a specific duty where the UN is concerned. So I figure that that embassy in New York does not handle the kinds of things that
the one in New York is a consular section.
Okay.
So very often they do consular services. The embassy in Washington handles all the other offices.
So it's like in the UK, the High Commission, there's one in Hyde Park, and there's one in Highgate. The one in Highgate in North London, that one handles visas and all that kind of stuff. But the main one, which is in, I think it's still there,
Hyde Park, Victoria.
Hyde Park, yes. That one handles the kind of ceremonial things and discussions with government and that kind of thing. So maybe the minister should come back again and give us more information. We know the minister to be the kind of person who works with information. We know the minister to be a kind of person who has intelligence. So he should come back and tell us more. Just blanketly telling us that I've shut it down and not give us...
For a few days, for an overhaul, Auditor General
give us the details so that we can all assimilate with it and align with it. What you don't want to happen is for people to throw, dust in the air and say, oh, they're doing it because they want to do as they want to do, I know. We don't want that kind of conjecture. So I hope he can come back and tell us more so that we can have
well thankfully
discussion.
Parliament resumes today, so maybe he will give more detail while he's in Parliament, while he goes to Parliament, as they talk about
hopefully.
Hopefully. Theophilus.
Yes, I don't know whether I should say apologies for the, or you should say apologies for the...
Well, apologies to our viewers for that inaudible sound there.
Yes. There are a few things that we should pick from the minister's statement. One, he said the shutdown will be few days. Two, he said that the sort of reasons why the embassy was shut down had been ongoing for the past 5 years. Then thirdly, to add to what Senior has just said, he said it is not that they were charging more or than what service they charge for the services. Rather, the guy created a link to the website of the embassy where applications were routed to him, and he takes over and does the sort of thing. Now, you would have expected that this would have been picked by somebody for the last 5 years.
Actually, I mentioned in my preamble that Kofi Tonto, who worked in the information service of that embassy, stated, I heard him on a sister network saying that this particular guy was under investigation some time ago. So it is as though this is known to the embassy.
Yes. So if let's granted and let's without admitting that it's known to the embassy and it has taken 5 years for this to be ongoing, for it to be now brought to the fore. It's taken a while that there has to be a cleanup somehow. Senior also made mention of, or you asked, why should somebody commit such a crime allegedly or from that side of the world? Now, our laws are clear. If such an offense can be punishable or tried in Ghana, you will still be tried in Ghana, whether you commit it anywhere. The Courts Act is very clear on it. I think that let's give the minister a slight benefit of the doubt that he will not have taken this decision lightly. And in a preamble to his statement, he said he has discussed this with the president. So I believe that this will not have been taken very lightly. And I guess that the Americans themselves might be aware of some of these things. So it's better this is cleaned properly to reset our image than to allow it to fester for us to come back and sing another song. So let us...
But diplomatically, could this have been handled better?
Yes, I think that if there are alternative ways of doing it, he would have gone for that. I'm not saying that he's without fallacy, he's the Pope, he can't commit any crime or he can lie or anything. But what I'm trying to say is that having discussed this with the president, and again, there are other lawyers and counsel around that would have advised, and there are other diplomats, and we have the Foreign Affairs Commission or the board that oversees the foreign ministry. So they and made up of very senior former ambassadors, chief directors of the Foreign Affairs Ministry. They would have seen all these things. I believe strongly that this might have been discussed before the decision is taken. Few days, in my estimation, few days should not be more than a week. So we should be back. In the interim, I believe that they would have put in place something that would have handled the flow of business, information, etc. If the New York position cannot be said that our consular section in New York cannot handle it. So I think let's still give the minister, as Senior said, he's someone who works, he has passion for the work, he's someone who works with a lot of intelligence, and he will not have taken this just by virtue of the whims and caprices of someone. So in a short term, it might appear, I mean, how can you shut down just the embassy of Ghana in the US? Looking at all that, the repercussions will be. without having something in place. There will definitely have been some backup in place. Not everybody. Then Senior also talk about the fact that for you to work in the embassy, you must have some experience, etc. It has not always been the case with respect to Senior. And we also have situations where local staff are recruited. So
and in this instance, all local staff have been suspended.
Yes. So yes, local staff are recruited, and Ghana has had a situation, I think, in Italy, where somebody was dismissed and the person went to court, etc. So the current foreign affairs minister, I believe, would have had knowledge of all that before decisions are taken. That is why they are suspended. And I think when they go through all this and you need to go, I think you'll be allowed to go.
I think, reading the story more, I think probably one of the reasons was that they've recalled all staff. If you called all staff, then there will be not enough staff there to do the daily work. But most interestingly, the gentleman, as you said, diverted it to his own private company, Ghana Travel Consultants, and was charging $60.
Yeah, 26.
Instead of 29.75.
Yeah. So he was charging between $29 to $60.
No, okay, ranging from 29 to 60 for 5 years. Hey, let's go.
But obviously he was not working alone. I mean, if what Kofi Tonto was saying is anything to go by, there's a cartel, and so it means that there should be a deliberate plan to critically audit all our foreign missions.
So that is what apparently the minister has said. He set up an audit team to go out and audit. But shouldn't there be software that can trigger these things? There is.
But this person is an IT guy, remember?
So
there's always a way to beat the system if you're an IT person.
No, again, they say he created a link to the embassies.
Because he works
so that,
there.
Yes.
But there should be, with embassies, you're trying to tell me that some person who wants to link into the embassy's computers can easily do that.
No, but this is somebody who works there, who is there on a day-to-day basis.
But bear in mind, if somebody too who is a computer whiz kid can link into the systems of the embassy, that is dangerous. There should be some internal things that can trigger when such a thing happens. Because for 5 years, nobody saw anything. There must be a value chain in there that is part and parcel of what?
No, but if you listen to the minister's statement, he said that, and his collaborators. So there could be the people who might monitor the triggering could also be part of the process to trigger the system. Right. So yes, and as you say, you listen to Kofi Tonto, who said they were aware that this was ongoing. I mean, you would have thought that if somebody was aware, there could have been a curative measure to cure this long ago. But again, these are all allegations.
But you see, another thing is, I mean, not to, I mean, put out my opinions, but he was under investigation. So maybe the investigation has now unraveled the true cause of what has been happening in that particular embassy.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It's still an allegation. We don't know the end product of how the whole thing went about. So, but it is worrying, as he said, that for the past 5 years, this has been ongoing. I believe that with the current auditing, some of these things will not recur. And again, is it only in Washington that this is happening? Is it happening in other areas? Truth be told, I listened to, briefly, I saw a video of Kevin Taylor last week or something. Then he made certain damning comments about our embassies in the US and other places. But sometimes you might take it to be a usual political thing. Until I saw the statement from the minister, I was like, hold on, this guy might have seen something. Again, if you have ever been to some of our embassies and high commissions abroad, truth be told, the experiences have not been so nice.
Okay.
Yes, so nice.
In terms of
services, Senior here has given you if you go to Highgate in London, particularly what you go through, it's not one you need to. Currently, as I'm talking to you, I use the name Junior as part of my surname just because the embassy there added Junior to my surname when I apply for passport, and I sent the passport off for a scholarship application before it came out that
is the junior your surname or the junior part of your first name? But the scholarship had little time, so it just had to go. And I was applying for passport for my daughter. I put the name, and they added their own name. And when you want to complain and people talk anyhow, it's not like the way you are an American, you get to the U.S. Embassy here, you have all these things. So perhaps people could have been complaining that we are paying $60 and it's $29, and our usual treatment of some of these complaints would have allowed the thing to fester on for so long. Or there are other ways to say, hey, this is an EMS type of situation. We are doing expedited services for you. Right. So forget about your 26 or 29 and pay the $60 and let's do it for you. But one of the things Ablakwa Honorable has been doing is that he wants to give a different image to our missions that we have. If you notice, there are situations recently in Nigeria, people were arrested, and you know, even from opposition, he's been on some of these things. So I believe that he would have taken this decision based on a lot of intelligence and goodwill, and also the better view and image for Ghana.
Okay. Kwasi, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you too?
I'm doing well. I saw a video you posted on your page, your Facebook page, of an accident involving a motor rider, and it was quite disturbing.
Yes, it happened last Sunday. Apparently, I think it was Honorable Kennedy Japan and his team. They were driving, and one truck driver has struck a motorcyclist and caused his death instantly, and unfortunately refused to stop. And in his attempt to flee away, I understand the Honorable Ken was also using that route and quickly asked his guys to chase him. So yeah, they apprehended him and later handed him over to the police. So as at now, the matter is still with the police.
That's a good one. But why would you hit someone and then flee? I mean, even without anything, I used to think that as Ghanaians as we are, we used to be very hospitable, have our conscience driven. But it feels so.
No, if we want to, just like we are auditing the embassies, if we want to audit our real selves and the lifestyle, you realize that we've lost our sense of humanity. And very sadly, in terms of even the politicization of issues, we've almost politicized everything to the extent that one may call us even imbeciles. No sense of humanity, no empathy, and I mean that is the people that who we are now. So it's quite unfortunate. But I mean the good thing is that the guy has been arrested and has been.
Let's talk about the shutdown temporarily of Ghana's embassy in Washington.
Yes. But before I miss it, good morning to you once again. Good morning to my seniors, especially my uncle. As for my uncle, I always want to hear his submission. Anyway, let me. Well, I have a personal principle, and for this one, let me start by saying that I agree with my uncle Nana Jantuah. I am of the view that we should get more or less better and further particulars with regards to comprehensive details that even Mr. Blakwa based on to arrive at this decision. Because this is my personal principle and opinion that when something does not go well or there is something going wrong in any enterprise, any organization, the solution to whatever is going on is not necessarily closing down that institution. So, I mean, let me use, for instance, GHOne premises as an example. If it becomes apparent that an auditor here has engaged in some form of unethical or very illegal conduct or some form of misconduct, I am not sure the solution to addressing that unethical or illegal conduct will be to close down the whole media firm. But of course, I mean, leadership varies. Mr. Blakwa also has his own, like you said, information and maybe his advices upon which he based on to arrive at this conclusion. But me, I have a personal reservation on Mr. Blakwa as a person. Not a dislike for him, but I am of the view that in terms of his leadership styles and how he portrays himself out there, has been marred with a bit of populist kind of, approach. And of course, also to add that, even not to mince words, I also say that even in some instances, his leadership approach has been questionable when regards to the principles that the person that you hold. I've always maintained that principles are not seasonal. Mr. Blakwa was heard loudly during the past administration, criticizing almost everything. But as a foreign affairs minister, he's also yet to comment on the private jet that brought Professor Jai Nana Opoku-Agyeman. Let me state clearly that I am not against any person, particularly any of our leadership, using private jet, particularly in some of these circumstances. She was sick, she went for treatment, and it could even be upon doctor's advice. But when we almost politicize everything, especially during somebody's administration, and then the paradigm shifts or it changes, and we pretend as if we've also not seen what is going around, and then make ourselves mute and concentrate on other things and make it like those are the most important things, it questions your principles as a leader. That's why I'm saying that principles are not seasonal. So me, Mr. Blakwa is somebody I do not trust. I maintain he's populist, and his approach to issues has always been full of populism and showmanship. And because why should you close down a whole embassy, whether temporarily or whether it's permanent? Why should you close down a whole embassy because you heard it or you saw that somebody committed an illegal act or an offense? Ordinarily, based on the common sense approach, the ordinary approach would rather be maybe to sanction such a person, or better still, even close down that particular unit. But to close down the full embassy, recall all staff, obviously, we know the political realities that we are confronted with. The next minute, they will be packing them with people that they feel they are aligned to, their political affiliations and party. And the cycle will go on. Of course, it's not only Mr. Blakwa's time, but those are the unfortunate political realities that we find ourselves. But I agree with Nana Jantuah. Maybe we need more details, we need more information as to what really happened and why we got ourselves here. But like I indicated, I do not think the response to some of these things should be a full closure. I am of the view that some of the remedial steps that should have been taken probably was to suspend whoever committed that offense. I also don't get the basis of recalling all staff that were locally recruited. Maybe we need more details to that, because the fact that, let's say, an auditor here commits an offense, that not necessarily means that all of you here have to be recalled. It's not realistic, it's untenable, and completely illogical if you want to be very plain. But he is the minister, maybe he has some information that I do not know. But I am saying that we are also unable to overlook the political realities that confront us, and especially Blakwa himself being a politically exposed person. He should not take this as an opportunity also to just remove other people, take them off their jobs and put his people there. And that's what I'm saying. It may sound quite weird, but the next minute, all the people that may be recalled, interestingly, it will interest you to know that none of them may be resent back, because people have this whole concept that America is a land of opportunities. If you are there, a lot of opportunities can come your way. So a politician, he may also want to take advantage of it. So Blakwa should not benefit from this politically. He should not exploit the situation politically. He should brief Ghanaians with further details, and as soon as possible, we are calling on him to make sure that the embassy starts working. I don't believe that the suspension of the embassy with all the activities is the way to go.
I realized that you kept nodding.
Yes, it's interesting that Kwasi was in one breath talking about us politicizing and not politicizing thing, and he ended up politicizing the whole comments from the embassy right down to private jets, right down to every. I don't get it. It became a bit like for me to really understand. But there again, let me be honest and tell you that I am part of the Foreign Affairs Committee of NDC. I belong to that, and certain discussions I am privy to about the local staff, etc. And as you would have noticed, just as most of our local offices and firms, organizations are overstaffed here, the same way with our foreign missions too. A lot of them, yes, a lot of them are also overstaffed. I mean, I can give instances of organizations in Ghana here that people go, they don't even have desks to sit on, yet they have been on salary for the past 4, 5, 6 years. They still have, we have them in foreign affairs too. I mean, I would have loved, being a member of that committee, to say, hey, I have a younger sister. She could be posted to Washington to also do something. But that has not been the situation with the Foreign Affairs Committee. Indeed, the Foreign Affairs Committee and the Foreign Affairs Commission Board, the authority that oversees that, I said, has been inaugurated recently, has a lot of former ambassadors, not necessarily under NDC, a lot of people who work in Foreign Affairs Ministry, chief directors, etc., and they advise on some of these recruitment. That is why I gave you the instance of a situation happened before in Italy, where someone was sacked that way, and Ghana had to be dragged to court to pay heavily. So we have history behind it. So I don't expect that just recalling staff will mean that go and send another group of people without recourse to proper way of relieving people of their duties, etc. No, I can assure you, Honorable Ablakwa will not be part of things like that. So let us, again, the foundation you built, but let's have better and further particulars. That will help us. But we should not jump the gun to say that he will use it for this or it will be politicized this way. That fear is not there. Recently, if I want to venture and...
but I mean, is it not justified that people are questioning why you are recalling stuff when you have identified that this is the person?
No, listen to the story. Read carefully the statement. He said, and his collaborators, they have not been mentioned.
Okay.
Yes, and his collaborators. And interestingly, all these here are lawyers, and they know when such expression, when you say that, take my bed, my table, my chair, and the others, it means you are talking about furniture. Okay? So when he is talking about somebody who has allegedly committed a crime, and his collaborator, it is expected that the collaborators would have been in the same band of committing similar things. Okay. So let us remove them. Let us clean the system. Who knows? They might all go back. Having identified that the system is clean, they might all go back. So let us be a bit optimistic and look about the image of Ghana. Okay. That will be... again, I said something here. The Americans would have known these have been ongoing. The U.S. would have known, not the Ghanaians. The U.S., our host, would have known. And again, you see, they also have people who come here, who use the embassy. Someone would have clicked on that link and would have gone this way and would have said, hey, come on, let me find out.
Point of order. How would they have known if it was more internal than external?
Exactly.
No. What I'm saying is that we were identifying something here. Something has been identified. That you click on a link, which is different from what the official link is.
No, but
how would Americans have known
per the communique
that it was going on?
When you click on the link, you are redirected. You know, sometimes when you log on to certain websites,
redirected to another.
Exactly.
Another one.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that's, I mean, something.
Fair enough, but I'm trying to find out how the Americans would have known.
Just as the way we Ghanaians would have known when you click and it's redirected. Any other person who clicks would have known.
This has gone on for 5 years.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
So if it was known, it should have been caught way before 5 years.
That's why I'm saying that people may have, we have seen, except you might not have paid a bit of, with all respect, attention here, that we discussed the situation that this might have been complained about, but it might not have been picked. And you collaborated that to say that the guy was under investigation, and he made further comments when he was even being under investigation. So
do we know what he was under investigation for then?
We don't know what he was under.
We can't assume that the same thing.
But he was being, Kofi Tonto was being interviewed on this issue. That was when he mentioned it. So fair-mindedness would have assumed that it is this issue that he might have been under investigation for. We wouldn't have been stretching it.
According to Kofi Tonto, the guy told him that he should just keep quiet. He will give him some good amount of money, about $10,000, that he doesn't work alone.
Evidence.
No,
evidence.
That is the spokesperson for the embassy.
He was at the information bureau.
He was there.
Yes, Kwasi worked at the mission. Yes,
I know he worked there, but for such sensitive information, don't you think it was incumbent on Tonto to make sure that it's exposed?
But if somebody is under investigation, I mean, if it means that it was brought to light.
If you came to tell me something that you want me to hide under the bushel, and I know what you're telling me is wrong, isn't it my responsibility to expose it?
Why?
And show evidence that this is what is happening? So how can we say what my good friend Tonto is saying is true? Evidence. You show the evidence. Should.
Because you have.
Yeah, just quick response to I mean some of the concerns that Honorable raised. Honorable mentioned that if you reference the statements of Mr. Blackwell, he was referring to the IT guy and his collaborators. It presupposes that the collaborators are known, because if you refer to his collaborators, so I do not see why you mention himself and the collaborators, but then in your statement, the paragraph 2 states that all Ministry of Foreign Affairs staff posted to the Washington embassy have been recalled home with immediate effect. Unless, of course, all the staff there were all collaborators. So, I mean, we cannot overrule the fact that as a politician he may want to exploit even this situation and put his people there. Secondly, Honorable raised his concerns about that even the foreign missions are overstaffed, just like when we have even our local places overstaffed there. If I read his statement, he doesn't make reference to any overstaffing. But granted, even to go by the argument that Honorable is advancing, foreign missions are overstaffed, and for that matter, you are bringing them here, and you also admit on one breath that this place is also overstaffed. Where are they coming to? To also add up to the overstaffing. So, what Ablakwa has done for me is populist.
Okay.
Like his usual antics and theatrics. Because if you are doing this to save the image of the country, then it's rather worsened. I'm not sure if the Americans discover some of these illegalities, or allegedly, or some of these misconducts or unethical practices in their embassies in Ghana here. Their solution to it will be recalling everybody to America, closing the whole embassy. I mean, they will have to even manage it in a certain way based on the diplomatic protocols and how they even want to protect the country's reputation. So for me, Ablakwa's approach is completely wrong. The whole idea of suspension, recalling, blowing the whole matter out of context for me is something that I disagree, and it's completely wrong. I was of the view that if somebody commits any offense in any particular organization, any particular jurisdiction, you deal with him and all his collaborators. But to make this whole news and project himself as if he's working, but that's Ablakwa. That has been his style, and he's been a hero for it. So maybe we just allow him to enjoy.
All right. If there are no more battles, please let's move on to our next topic. Let's talk about the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice has filed a supplementary affidavit. She says her rights are being abused, her mental health is under siege, and there's a deliberate ploy to unconstitutionally remove her. Because you ended, let me start with you.
Hey, today you are starting with me. I thought if you ended, but anyway, last week I didn't speak for you, so today you're also not speaking for me. Anyway,
what have I got to do with what you said?
No, last week, you recall that last week he ended when you started, and I insisted that it was a good practice. So today, there is nobody to speak for me. Anyway, on
mischief, that's your middle name.
on Chief Justice. Well, I think we've had a lot of discussions on this subject, and I've made my point very clear on many occasions that I am of the view that the President Mohammed's administration is just hiding under the umbrella or the guise of the law to perpetuate the greatest form of injustice to the Chief Justice. And of course, that also amounts to an attack on state institutions, particularly the judiciary. And if you look at unfolding events, it confirms and validates some of these claims that I've held.
Okay.
Now, even just look at the work of the committee that is probing the Chief Justice based on the requirements of Article 146, and look at the persons involved and their alienation when it comes to the political environment that we find ourselves. Mr. Chachuchikata has been the president's lawyer on many occasions. And when I refer to the president, I'm referring to President Mahama. Look at Mr. Tadeo Sori, also the lawyer for the Speaker of Parliament. So you have the lawyers for the Speaker of Parliament and the lawyers of the executive arm of government all ganging up to more or less attack the judiciary, and also that of Mr. Pwamang, whose political affiliation is objective to all of us, if we want to accept, because if you are applying the reasonable man's test, you will know where his alienation is with, just with the NDC. So clearly, these are the three, and it presupposes and again affirms the point that I'm making, that this is not just an action based in the law, but it's an action that is tyrannical and is just being validated by the law. And that is what I'm seeing. I mean, the last time I referenced what Montesquieu said, that there is no greater form of tyranny than the one that is perpetrated under the guise of the law in the name of justice. For me, if you look at how things are going, it is clear that the John Mahama administration is bent on removing the Chief Justice. Nothing will stop them. We ask them to proceed. They should finish whatever they want to do. But you see, I mean, on the hindsight, I've always maintained that politicians, it appears we do not learn.
How so?
One of the reasons why a lot of people lost trust in the President Akufo-Addo's administration has also to do with how he handled some of these removals. People felt that even without admitting that they've committed some offense in those respective institutions, maybe other form of sanctions could have meted out to them. With the whole idea of protecting the image and the independence of such institutions. Reference has been made to that of the Madame Charlotte Osei and Mr. Dumlevo. President Mahama campaigned at the backdrop of reset. So people also felt that, well, he is coming to protect state institutions. And today, they are making one significant move. Of course, they have justified that well. I mean, there are references to it, even though I believe that even those two cases are not very similar, because they have, I mean, independent facts. But you ask them, they said, oh, you also removed Charlotte Osei, so we are also doing the same. And I've always maintained that if the removal of the current Chief Justice is just to avenge that of Madame Charlotte Osei, then it lacks merit in the first place. But for me, my fear has to do with how we want to attack and reduce and break down state institutions. And I've always maintained that point, that I'm always biased towards protecting state institutions. I've always maintained that when it comes to the judiciary, for instance, they do not have guns, they do not have arms. All what the judiciary thrives on has to do with the respect, the confidence and the trust that people repose in them. Today you want to remove the Chief Justice, obviously hiding under the umbrella of the law. And based on your past comments, on your utterances, you labeled her as a woman organizer of the NPP. People say she's aligned with the NPP, she's in bed in the NPP. Remove her. You proceed and remove her. Apart from rewriting Article 146 to construe the office of the Chief Justice to be a political appointee of the President, you are also telling us that whoever Chief Justice that you are bringing, we should also not accept him because he's also an NDC man. Today, if you think I go to court and I lose a case, I also believe that, I mean, I've had a fair judgment. And that is where you reduce the confidence of the people in the judiciary.
Which is the third arm of government.
Third arm of government. You decline public trust, and that the consequential effect of this is, concerns of public safety, concerns on even the economy, because especially when you look at the investor community, one of the key variables that they look at is a judiciary, a working judiciary based on trust and confidence that people place in it. So they are coming to Ghana to invest. They believe that they cannot even trust the judiciary. How would they come? I mean, these are clear signs that, for me, I felt that the second coming of John Mahama, he should have been a bit receptive to some of this. But it appears, I mean, it's politics as usual. After all, he's just doing 4 years and leaving. Please your party people. Everybody can go to hell. All those comments are being made by the usual MPP people. Even when they get the opportunity, they will do worse. Or after all, they did worse, so we can also do the very worst that they want to do. So you should proceed. I mean, we've gotten to a stage where we are tired of talking about the Chief Justice issue. But today is the Chief Justice. Tomorrow can be anyone. The Chief Justice is just one person. They may succeed in removing. After all, this is not the first time. They've done it in West forms when the PNDZ era with, allegations of murder of justices of the Superior Court up till now. And the predisposition at every stage of our democracy, or the NDC always having a problem with the judiciary. If you recall, if you want to do a forensic analysis and put data on all the politically inclined cases that were done in the past 8 years. Interestingly, the NDC even won more than the MPP. Yes, still, they say the Chief Justice, we control the judiciary. So, for me, they should proceed with whatever they want to do. The Chief Justice will not be the first person to fall victim to political victimizations and political realities. The Ghana will move beyond that. The nation will heal beyond that. But the mark, that indelible mark, will be on the hands of Mr. President Mahama. That he's the first person, and maybe I'm yet to be educated by my seniors. I have not heard a situation where, even in the whole of Africa, a Chief Justice has been removed. And
Even happened under Buhari recently.
So you are learning from him. Okay,
you said you should be educated.
I wanted education.
You said you should be educated. So you are learning.
I wanted education. That's fine. Yes. So if that is a precedent, in Nkrumah's time and one in Buhari, in Africa, you'll be able to give 2 instances. Probably, even if we want to go by the probability or the multiplicative effect, you may even look at if Africa has 2, the rest of the continent. So we may have about 10 cases in terms of instances of removal of Chief Justice worldwide. And John Mahama wants to be the 11th or the 12th person to do that. So we wish him the best. We should proceed. Whatever the outcomes, just like Pilato, was it Caesar? He asked for water to wash his hands. We all wash his hands. As for the blood of the Chief Justice, we put it on the head of Mr. Mahama. He should carry it.
Theophilus.
It's interesting listening to my younger brother. Obviously, history is not on his side. I mean, his understanding and appreciation of things that have happened in the past. He should just Google Mo Ibrahim Index. No, the judiciary under the last 8 years had the worst perception than ever in Ghana's 4th Republic.
Perceptions not realities.
Now, he should also look at no government has weakened state institutions far worse than what we witnessed under Akufo-Addo's government. He also sat here and said that NDC won more cases under the MPP regime than any other. That is at variance with what Tadiosori and Godfrey Dami had both put out last weekend for us to read. That cannot be the truth. Now, you asked the question about the application by the Chief Justice. Let's bring that to the table so that our viewers will also understand. The Chief Justice is saying that when she attended the hearing, her husband and her children were not allowed in. Article 146 is not a big article, it's a very short one. You can use it, you can use 30 minutes to read through and understand it. It says that the hearing shall be held in camera. Granted, we agree that the Chief Justice can waive her right to be heard. You see, there is a policy reason for saying it should be held in camera. 1, members of the panel, witnesses, petitioners are all supposed to be covered by the hearing in camera. So you are just one out of the numerous players within that sector for you to say that you want to waive yours. Now, so you waive yours, then the others are covered by the same camera. It doesn't work like that. Secondly, she is saying that it is her right. She has the right to waive. It is not a personal right we are talking about. It's the right attached to the office. She's just a person. It can be removed. That person, Madam Tokonu, can be removed out of the office. So to say that you were going and you were not allowed with your family, then come on, he was the Chief Justice. I won't say she is. I'm coming to address that. She should know that. Number one, if you look at her affidavit, she says that I am a Ghanaian,
a citizen of Ghana,
and the Chief Justice. Now we have an acting Chief Justice. We cannot have a Chief Justice and an acting Chief Justice. I would have advised that could have been taken out. She could have gone ahead and will do her deposition without really bringing that in. Now, she also said that when she was going there, she was searched. Look, at the last election petition hearing, people were searched before they entered the Supreme Court. So for you going to a place for hearing and you were searched or others were searched, it's nothing new. We see it every day. Even if you get to the court complex, no matter how you look at it, once you are entering, you are being searched. So the idea that the Chief Justice feels that as a result of that, her rights are being violated, let's leave that to the courts to decide. But you see, I will passionately tell Madam Chief Justice this. Somebody said that when you hear the scent of the coffee, know what is being served. Okay? There is history in this country about petitions and applications to remove the Chief Justice.
Right.
Now, in Tufo versus Attorney General, it happened. And Tufo went to court when Apalu was being asked to come for vetting. Senior is here. And the PNP guys, of which I believe Senior is has the blood in him, wanted Apalu in court for vetting because Apalu was part of the committee that investigated after Nkrumah's overthrow. Quickly, Tufo and Attorney General came in to shield Apalu. Let's bring it to modern history. We had the one that GBA went to court to say the person is not of IBAN. Quickly, the court went round and sort of said, hey, you are coming to remove Chief Justice Aban through the wrong means. Go and use the right means. Then we also had, I think, the Aqua one, which is the Ajechum one. You see the writing of Dateba, etc. That this is not the way you will use. You see, you are going to court. I'm talking as a lawyer. If she were my client, you are going to court, and you are seeing the rulings by your colleagues, and saying, "Go and do it this way. Go and do it that way." If I were her lawyer, I wouldn't go for a fourth or fifth time of the same issue for which the Supreme Court has ruled negatively against you. I won't go. And again, if you look carefully at it, this is part of the professional ethics of a lawyer, that you cannot go to court. It's something the court has ruled against 3 times or 4 times, and you are sending the same thing. So let us rather, if I were a lawyer, let us go through the process. Some of all this, anyway, let me quote her words. No matter the amount of noise, the law is the law. My colleague here mentioned that people, Thaddeus and Chikata. I have never seen Chikata being the lawyer for President Mahama. No, if you have mentioned Senior Tony Lita, I would have agreed with you. I don't have, or Senior, are you aware Chikata has ever been Mahama's lawyer in any court? I've never seen that before. I've never heard that.
I'll respond to you first.
That has not been. Now, we are talking about lawyers representing petitioners. They are not the petitioners. Now, I don't want to go into, the optics is sending in by Godfrey Dami, representing the CJ, the suspended Chief Justice. I would have wished that he could have weighed both.
But you mentioned that she's no longer the CJ. She is the CJ.
She is the CJ. Okay.
She's been suspended.
We should have added suspended CJ. I am the suspended CJ. That's what I mean. I am the suspended CJ.
But now whoever is there is acting.
Yes. So if you see the one who rise when the Justice Bafuboni rise, and then if you see AG acting Chief Justice, so maybe we should have had suspended Chief Justice. That's what I'm saying.
But she's still the Chief Justice.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. So she should have added that. That would have removed the coloration of the whole thing. But granted that all this is right, the meat of her submission is what I'm trying to get at.
That her mental rights are under siege because, even her legal representation, the dates that were agreed upon was agreed in his absence. These are the things she wrote in here.
You see,
I have copies of it, but I'll wish it could be projected.
All of us here are lawyers. There are days you go to court. There are days you go to court. There are days your client goes and you are not there, and days are fixed. Perhaps she didn't tell us whether she has sought permission or the lawyer has sought permission. Look, some of these things, let's wait for the AG's response. When the AG's response to the petition, the affidavit comes out, we will see that, we'll see the other side of the story. We can just see her own. But again, you see, these to and fro to the Supreme Court. Let me go to the Supreme Court, stall the process, come back, stall the process. The Supreme Court has ruled 3 times, at least, maybe it's 4, 3 times on applications about this process. What is going to make it so extraordinary that they are going to rule differently on the 4th or 5th time? I mean, that would be very difficult to see. As lawyers, we say that we take a cue. You see the way things are going, you take a cue and say, I will change my strategy. That's what I would have expected. But filing of processes upon processes upon processes. Remember, read, I'll urge my colleague here to go and read Justice Tanko's ruling on the Vincent Assefua's own. So if you finish reading that, you will know that they are determined to get this thing done. Let the process continue. Whatever the outcome, the CJ comes back if she's exonerated. If she's not exonerated, and she goes. And let's move on. But I suspect that a time will come when the Supreme Court will say, we have dealt with this for 4 or 5 times. It is enough. Let the process continue. For my colleague here to sit and say that it is NDC's plan to remove the CJ, for what? What will be the benefit? It's not. There's no benefit. Remember, Madam Lamte, who was removed as NCC boss, was appointed by President Mahama when she was removed. There's nothing. Then she's saying that he's also saying that it means that when whoever is appointed after her, one day, if MPP ever comes to power, then MPP should be able to remove such a person to. Today, you are complaining that the thing is wrong. And you want to come and do the wrong you are complaining about today?
But if you are rewriting the constitution, that would be the precedent.
No. So if the precedent is wrong, for which you are saying that the precedent is wrong today, tomorrow when you come, you want to do the wrong precedent.
You don't see it as wrong, but we should see it as wrong.
Then there's no need for you to complain today that it is wrong. Again, my colleague here should relax. We are having constitutional review committee. Maybe by the time that this whole process will be over and a new CJ, we might have a new constitution where Article 146 will be differently written. You should relax. We are all seeing, if you read the articles of the likes of Professor Prempe, he also talk about what the removal of the CJ is. Read what Sophia Akufo said. They are all complaining about Article 146. So I believe that by the time we will have a referendum or sort on the constitution, Article 146 will see a different change. It will see very different face. So, senior relax. NDC has no reason or no interest in the removal of the CJ. The petitioners are not NDC.
No, they are.
Okay. Again, let me tell you, for you to say someone is NDC like you are, you must be a card-holding member.
No, we are doing the reasonable man test.
No, reasonable man doesn't come in.
I don't have your card here, but I know you're NDC.
No, yes.
I don't have your card here, but I know you are NDC.
I'm a card-bearing member.
I'm not seeing it, but I know.
I'm a card-bearing member. I'm a card-bearing member. That will not pass. Reasonable test will not pass. Membership. Look, I was loyal for some of the people who are accused of.
Actions are shown is NDC.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. That's what I'm saying. That's your objectives man test. You do the reasonable test.
So the people you are talking about, why they are the actions?
Yes. If you didn't show those actions, you wouldn't.
I've never seen Mr. Chika test ID card before. Why are you saying he's a member of the MPP? What are you talking about?
Because if you didn't show that you're MPP, I wouldn't be able to say you're MPP.
Exactly.
You must show some action.
You must show.
No, but he is basing only on the ID card.
How
many people have ID cards in this country?
I haven't finished.
How many people have ID cards?
Please allow him.
There were things you have to show card, you have to show attendance of meeting, you have to show words or messages related to the organization you are talking about.
Just being legalistic. That's
all. No.
Just being legalistic.
Again, Senior was telling you the same thing. So for the people who are petitioners, you cannot just sit here and say they are. In any case, even if they are NDC, they are not the mouthpiece of NDC. They don't speak on behalf of NDC. They don't take decisions on behalf of NDC. The petitioners are Ghanaians. if you read the alleged petition we all found on the social media, the petitioners are Ghanaians.
Even the lawyers are Ghanaians. Yes. They are not NDC. They just represented NDC. By your logic.
Kwasi, please allow him. You say you
no, but he's spoken too much.
No, but you said you have a response. So let him land. Let him land. Let him land.
Interjecting me. Chikata is not a Nigerian, as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
Chikata is a Ghanaian. I don't bother about it. When you go to court, there was a time Atachia was representing Rawlings. Does it mean that Atachia is NDC? Atachia represented Rawlings when Professor Koku Buafo was publishing his book. The lawyer for Rawlings was Atachia. Does it mean that the representation of that makes Atachia an NDC member?
Okay.
No. So the argument is neither here nor there. NDC as a party has no interest in seeing the removal of the CJ. The petitioners have petitioned. No matter the noise we make, the law is the law. Let the process continue. If she's exonerated, she comes back. If she's not exonerated, she doesn't come back. But let me conclude by saying that President Mahama's handling of Ghana so far is so stellar that you cannot compare it to any of the parts of the 8 years that we have seen.
Okay. Let me hear Mr. Jantuah.
Let me land. Is it English? Let me land. Is it English?
Let me land.
Usually we use it all. Let him land. I don't think it's right English. Let him make his point. I think that is better English. We need to educate people who watch us. But let me go into history and look at the judges who were...
I think it's an idiomatic expression.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is this an idiomatic expression?
I think so.
Check it.
I think so. But please go ahead with your submission.
Sir Akukosa was the Chief Justice removed in Nkrumah's regime in December 1963. He was removed after presiding over the trial of 5 defendants in the Kulungugu attack on President Kwame Nkrumah in August 1962, where 3 of the accused were found not guilty, reportedly displeasing the Nkrumah government. That was the first one. The second was, additionally, another Chief Justice, Julius Sarkodie Addo, was also removed during a military coup that overthrew Nkrumah's government on February 24th, 1966. So we've had 2 CJs in the history of this country who have been removed. But
it is a valid English phrase, by the way. It is a valid English phrase, by the way.
It's valid
I just
English.
checked, yes.
Okay, that's good. So it was my mistake. I'm colloquial. Now, let me go to the Constitution and let me look at Clause 8 that talks about in camera. Because I've been trying to assess, and probably there are 2 astute lawyers here, will be able to define it for me. 8 says, all proceedings under this article
shall be held
in camera. The in camera is not written in bold, it's written in italics. It means emphasis. But my question is, all proceedings under this article, it doesn't say all proceedings under this clause, all proceedings under this article. Does it mean that the moment the petition hit the president's desk, the proceedings have started? And if that is the case, all that should be in camera? Is that what it means? Because just under this article, the entire 146, if that is the case, then we did things ultra vires. Who exposed this particular issue? Was this particular issue supposed to have been exposed according to 1468 if we are classing it as all proceedings held in camera? It's a question that has been bugging me. So that means all along the chain, this thing should have been held in camera, everything in camera before. Come on, look, in the UK, some judges have been removed, but I don't think anybody has heard anything about. The next thing you hear is that this judge is no more there, or this person is no more, practicing as a judge. That is if they haven't retired. So the process of exposure, when does it start? Number 3, I think when you look at, and it's an affidavit, right?
Yes.
When you look at the affidavit of the Chief Justice, the first point of call is that the judges handling this thing should deal with every article in her affidavit. Because she is claiming what? Fundamental human rights. She's claiming mental torture.
Yeah.
She's claiming quite a number of things. She's even claiming why it's being held at Christianborough Castle and not a normal court as has been done previously.
Yeah.
So I think that should be the first point of call. The other challenge is that the people listening or hearing the case are not people from outside. They are her colleagues.
Yeah.
So it makes it extremely sensitive how it should be handled. Extremely sensitive. And I have said all along that I would have liked a situation where all this kerfuffling and all this here, tomorrow, that is when I say that was wiped away and they face the actual reasons why he has been accused. So that if she is guilty, the law takes its course. If she is not, and she is vindicated, and she comes back, and this is where being heard by your colleagues becomes very, 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 very sensitive. If she does come back, she must be able to have a motherly attitude and not have anything against those who heard her case. Will that be possible? Because it can bring some kind of katakata in the judiciary. So I'm praying that if it so happens that she's found not guilty of the charges, that she would be able to work with her colleagues again and put it behind her. And remember, if she is found not guilty of the charges, what president can move her? What party can move her? No. Nobody can. That's why, I have been saying that as much as possible, go through the process. Go through the process. Let us all see the value of what is going to be done, and let us all see that it is done and done well in terms of the law should be applied, the evidence applied should be kosher, and her evidence should be watertight to be able for the justices to see her point of view. I really and truly, I would want the end of this case, seriously. I think it's taking up too much time.
Too much of the time.
I think she doesn't feel happy about it. In her affidavit, it tells you it's creating a lot of challenges for her. And I think we owe her that responsibility to deal with her affidavit first before we even go into the substantial case. But let's see how it goes. When are they? When
just a quick one, not interjecting. You said the affidavit before the substantive case. You mean?
Yes.
You mean the petition, or you mean?
I mean what she has just.
What she has written. There is a substantive case and an application for injunction all by her. Not the petition. There is also a substantive case at the court, the Supreme Court, before her injunction application.
Let's deal with this.
Her injunction applications.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's deal with it first. Get it out of the way.
Okay.
So that it doesn't mingle with the main reason why she is being brought to answer questions. Get it out of the way so that it's clear. I would not want a situation where there's animosity between the judiciary. Because definitely, in this country, a citizen belongs to either the NDC, MPP, CPP. This belongs to a political party. You cannot take that from them. They are, it's their right to belong to a political party. How we handle our individual interests in the political parties we support is the question. Whether, no matter what, my political party can do no wrong, that becomes questionable. Because they're human beings, aren't they?
Yeah.
And human beings aren't perfect. And so, I believe, in as much as, and Kwasi was saying the petitions are NDC. Yeah, they could be NDC, they could be MPP. But it is their right, if they see something isn't done well, to petition the president. It's the president's right to go according to the process in the constitution as to how to handle these things. And would we say, so far, the president has done anything ultra-vires in terms of how it's been handled? I don't see it, not unless others do.
Okay.
When the petition came, he went to Council of State. Council of State saw a prima facie case. He set up a committee, and that process has been followed.
You see, I know you have rebuttal, but I need to take a quick break. When I come back, then I'll give you a chance for that rebuttal. Let me take a quick break here. I am back shortly.
GHOne OV van has been one of the best vans I've used personally in this country. It runs a system where we are able to run on Dante to be able to do our broadcast mixed well also from this van.
I've used this OB van for quite a number of big productions, i.e. 3 music awards, the late President Rollis' state funeral, Miss Africa Awards, and a number of them.
My experience with the GHOne van has been the state of the art equipment they have. Personal experience is you can use it for both indoor and outdoor, all events, conferencing, like anything you need a van to work for you, GHOne provides it. My
experience with the van has been very good. Why? Because it has a number of facilities that I may not get in other vans. You know, the van has a very wide bench that can accommodate all my technical crew, ICC, switcher, graphics, CG, and all of that. And then it also has a studio, a green room studio that comes with TriCaster. So if you want somebody to do commentary on a live event, you can put that presenter who's in that studio as well and get that running.
To give an experience to our audience, we're also watching on TVs and online. Work with an Exo technology system, which makes your video mixing with Panasonic cameras, like a lot of other stuff in terms of content you need to get also for your live broadcasts.
I prefer the GHOne van to a lot of other vans I've used, or even doing my own setup on a tabletop setup. Because on a production you see a number of people in the van. And so if you have a very small van, it means that it's going to be choked, and that will affect the creativity as well. The price has been discounted as well to accommodate varied budgets. And so no matter the budget you have, I understand you can have the track and do business with it.
It looks huge, but very affordable. Cost is really, really affordable. My experience with it, EMI Awards last year, super excellent. Try it, call them, and I'm going to give you the best of price. Really affordable.
Yeah, welcome back to the show. This is still GH Today here on GHOne TV. I am Lily Mohammed. Still the breakfast review. My guests are still seated. We've been discussing the removal of the Chief Justice, and she's filed supplementary affidavit where she says that her mental health is under siege. She is not being even allowed her access to her husband and children during the proceedings of the committee who was sitting to hear the petitions on the matter. Because you have a few rebuttals.
Just 30 seconds. No, maybe a rebuttal. Just a point of information that I want Ghanaians to understand that the main basis for the removal, according to the petition, that my senior is saying they are not indivisible, It's just anchored on the fact that the Chief Justice traveled outside the country together with his husband and wife, and on that basis,
and children.
Her husband and children, and on that basis, she's a candidate for removal. I mean, people believe that this country, everything is so clean that just on the mere basis of traveling with your husband and children, that could constitute a basis of removal. Meanwhile, President Mahama just recently defied his own code of conduct by accepting a car gift. He's still there. If we had to go by this logic, maybe every politician, every public official should have as well.
He gave it.
So he had even indicated that none of his appointees should even take a gift in the first place. So even the act of taking itself was in a conflict with his own code of ethics. What about where he took it, where he disposed it?
Okay.
The whole singular act of taking it itself was a clear betrayal and defiance of his own code of conduct. Yes, so he's still there. So if people want to be excessively legalistic, like I indicated, hide under the umbrella of the law and perpetuate all forms of injustice in the name of the law, we'll leave it to the jury out there. My senior said it's not politically motivated because he believed that Chikata is an MPP guy or is a Ghanaian. All the other Voma Wenko, Tadio Sorry, or every other person. I don't want to, argue extensively. I leave it to the jury out there. But posterity will judge all of us. That's just what I wanted to say.
Okay, so if we can move to our next topic.
Yes.
Okay, yes. Let's talk about the Office of the Special Prosecutor.
That guy.
Kwasi, really, he's your Special Prosecutor.
No, he's not mine. I've never supported the whole idea of creation of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And I'm sure a lot of lawyers will side with me. If you look at the provision of Article 88 and how it's constructed, giving all the prosecutorial powers to the Attorney General, I personally believe that it's just a multiplicity of offices when you create any office like a Special Prosecutor. And I am not a believer in creating more state institutions. My philosophy has always been strengthening the existing ones. It's not about how much you create them. It's not about, bringing new institutions. It's about resourcing, making them effective so that they can be able to work. So I've never been for the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And I've always made this analogy that if you are, for instance, a businessman, and the Office of the Special Prosecutor is meant to generate revenue. Such a business by now would have run bankrupt and be closed down. How much do we give to that office or allocate to that office? How much even they spend in a year? And if you look at their command, how much have they been able to recover?
How many cases have they successfully
prosecuted and won? And even how much has they been able to recover? So I am of the view that if you do that simple money for value analysis, clearly such an office should not be existent, especially when Mr. Juaben has now made it like an office where he ran in the media, mostly running into the public, running commentaries. Look at the whole noise he made about this issue. All of a sudden, everything has gone to sleep. We've heard nothing again. So I don't trust him as how even how he manages that office. I have a problem and my own reservation with that office even in the first place. If there is anything that President Mahama is to do, that I'll be excited and I'll remember him for to scrap that office. Not necessarily because I believe that when Mr. Akufo-Addo added, of course, Mr. Akufo-Addo had a good motive and intention in establishing that office. But if you look at the reality that as we are confronted it, is it an office that we believe that is still useful? Clearly it's not useful. You look at the Charles Bishop's issue. The investigation has gone on for about 5 years now, all to chase 20,000. So the question is, how much do you even use to
expend on lawyers?
Yes, the lawyers, paying lawyers, investigative team running here and there. And as at now, this should be about the second or so that he went to court. And even as to whether he will be able to even win the case is also another question. And win the case to retrieve what? How much? 20,000 in 5 years. If I'm a businessman, I wouldn't see it as a good venture to even start in the first place.
Talking about winning or losing cases. He's lost another case, which involved the former MC nominee for New Juaben, Kwarteng.
Yes.
There were 26 counts, and Kwarteng has been acquitted and discharged of all those counts.
Yeah, my seniors will agree with me that a court is not a sensationalism chamber. It's a court of justice, and it's run by proving your case with evidence. I watched that video because I've not really followed even that discussion, but just this dawn, I happened to watch the video
where he asked
the special prosecutor based upon to go to court. And I mean, I am not I have not been at the bar for long, but even on the face value, I will not take this matter to court to go and prosecute. So I mean, if you watch the video carefully, and maybe if your producers could play for us, maybe if you had time. I mean, this is somebody who is just telling another person that how could that be all of a sudden construed to be somebody trying to influence people to vote just on this main about 20 seconds video, and all of a sudden you run commentary on it, you arrested a guy, did investigation for about 5 years or so.
It started since 2021.
Yeah.
So 4 years.
That's about 4 years. Run to court and just go to court and get him later. I think it's not your duty as the special prosecutor also has to be exercised with wisdom. Not necessarily everything you just follow and go to court. There was a clear purpose and clear mandate for establishing that office. And we've seen a lot of obscure matters that we were of the view that he would have concentrated on those things and investigated. Well, it appears he picks and chooses which cases he wants to investigate. I am also very mindful not necessarily to run down that office, but I've had the opinion that if there is anything to go by, that office has suffered leadership crisis, and maybe I may also agree with him partially, to the extent that just like how all state institutions has been politicized and are not made to work and be very effective, maybe it's also that office is also suffering from that fate. But I do not think when it comes to doing a value analysis, I will advise this country to maintain that office. I mean, they should rechannel that budget to the office of the AG. I know.
Shraj?
Come again?
Shraj?
Yeah, Shraj. I trust Shraj. AG. Of course, I mean, AG is doing their best, but so far as you still take politically exposed individuals, certainly you have those conflict of interest, and I mean sometimes over sensationalization and politicization of issues. Yesterday I had the opportunity to be part of the lawyers that represented Professor Amir Kofi. The deputy AG was there. He was representing the same side. I mean, in court you will see everything completely different from when we come outside. I mean, even when the bail application was raised, he was not opposed. And I was just imagining when we are outside and in front of the cameras, how the politics sets in. So it's also an opportunity to once again re-strengthen the institution of the AG, re-strengthen state institutions that are meant to fight corruption. And one other thing that we are all not paying attention. I'm bringing my submission to an end. I've read a lot of researches, right? If we look at the estimation of World Bank and even the Ghana Statistical Service, 80% of Ghanaian workers are paid less than 3,000 cedis. That's about $250. And the remaining 20% are living in abject poverty. So like President Kofo said, we are pretending to be paying our workers. Our workers also pretend to be working. But yes, so they are surviving.
How are they surviving?
How are they surviving? It's just some of these monies moving around in a cyclical manner through corruption, through bribery, and we're all pretending that nothing is there. I mean, a lot of instances is for the purpose of survival. Then we make a U-turn and go and use office of the prosecutor to chase who. So let's fix some of these basic.
Yeah, I think the special prosecutor thing was a campaign promise by the former president, Akufo-Addo, to establish it. And so I don't know where the politicization will come in. He established it for a purpose. And as I will agree with him to understand that how much has been brought in or recovered, maybe
as against how much we've expended.
We are spent on it. Currently, I don't know what the view of the current Attorney General is with regard to whether maintaining that office or not. Again, the case that you talk about, that
I love the way my brother said that going to court, you need to pay attention to certain things. I've always maintained that you need to ask yourself as the prosecutor whether it is in the public interest, whether there is the possibility of securing a conviction. Now, if we even take the last 4, 6, 7, 8 years, 9 years, some of the cases that drag on to court for so long, if you ask yourself if these cases were being prosecuted and the work done by the prosecutors was being charged to be paid by someone, would it have been value for money as we have done? So for me, I when the story broke about the new Juaben or the old Juaben, the MC issue,
the new Juaben,
I asked myself, is that the only thing worrying us in this country, that we need to spend so much effort inviting him from wherever to Accra for interview? We could have asked the police over there, do your work. Then the OSP will concentrate on something. Again, I agree with him. The OSP was choosing cases you were doing. When the election was about to be conducted last year, then boom, Airbus story came in.
You guys.
The OSP brought. It's not today. You have agreed that he's cleared we guys. When you were told that the OSP is your OSP, you say no. I don't want to hear. He's not my OSP. Let's. Well, he told me principles are not static; they can vary as you move on. But the bigger thing is that I agree with him to the extent that the resources being used or channeled into OSP could, if the same resources are used for the Attorney General's office, I think that will get better work done. That is my candid view. I don't know what the current policy will be for the OSP's office. There was a time there was a leak letter about the type of cars, etc.
Bulletproof.
Then I was asking myself, what of the principal state attorneys, senior state attorneys? Which ones are they using? Because they are showing their faces every day in court on murder cases, on robbery cases, etc. Which ones are they using? Do they also have some of those things? And the Attorney General himself or herself, which one is he or which one is, are they using? Yes. And I ask question. Finally, let me tell my colleague here that when you saw the deputy AG in court doing very well, saying we don't oppose, etc., it's a change from what we used to see previously.
You are politicizing everything.
It's a change. I mean, it's a change. When did we ever have people demonstrating that the deputy AG or AG visits them to say, I want to find out if the police are treating you well? When do we have somebody in Ioko custody and the Attorney General visiting to find out whether you are being treated well? I had the occasion to ask an AG or officer that, are you trained to oppose every bail application? Because you agree, senior will agree, they oppose almost every bail application. But if you say you have seen a change, let us applaud the AG for a change in the way cases are conducted.
The politicians always want to benefit from everything. Score points.
President Akufo-Addo set up the Special Prosecutor's Office for special, specific reason. And that was to do with corruption. True or false? True. And it turns out that, unfortunately, a lot of the other institutions haven't been able to nip the bud where corruption is concerned. So that was his main role. But I think corruption in political parties should be dealt with political parties. Political parties should be able to deal with any corrupt practices within their party structure. But do we see it happening? No, we don't see it happening. Because those who are supposed to do what? To monitor and make sure that corruption is weeded out are part and parcel of corruption. In Europe, in America, when you take the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, when there are instances of corruption, does it not come out? Wasn't a Republican, I'm sure it was senator, jailed because of corruption? Where he used party funds to buy material goods and put in his house? He was jailed. So for me, that particular exercise has got to do with political parties. Political parties should do more in handling this kind of corruption. Now, when you have a case in front of a judge, it depends on the strength of your evidence. to convince the judge that what you're saying is overwhelmingly true, and it should do what? It should indict the person you are putting in the box. Was the special prosecutor's evidence overwhelming enough? It doesn't look as if it was overwhelming enough. But let's you see, I don't understand why we want a situation where the special prosecutor will always win a case. I don't see it. You know, a court isn't a place where you go and should always win a case. It's not rubber stamp. It has got to do with how I present my evidence, how the prosecutor presents evidence, and how the judge applies the law to the evidence, to the evidence that is before the judge. So I don't see why.
But you know his mandate is corruption related. So if he thinks that this is corruption related, he can go to court.
But going to court is also expensive. We just run to court anytime. We are saying that he should just take his time. So that he just doesn't take any matter to court.
Okay. When you were talking, I was quiet.
But you are my uncle, so
it doesn't mean you can step on my toes.
So he's eating from his uncle's plate.
You know, corruption. So I believe that the evidence that he put forward in court wasn't strong enough for him to win. Now, the question about Attorney General and Minister of Justice. Why aren't we decoupling it? What is the challenge why we don't want to decouple, you know, those two
Attorney General office from the Ministry of Justice?
And this is way back from 2012, or even further back, 2008, where we've been talking about this. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, can the Minister of Justice, if he's on his own, take up corruption cases?
They can.
The Attorney General has tons of work to do.
Even not being on their own, they still take on some.
Yes, tons of work to do. And the Attorney General's position is sacrosanct because he's the only legal person in the Constitution. So I believe President Mahama should look at that particular area, decoupling the Minister of Justice from the Attorney General. Yes, corruption is a canker, but it looks as if the institutions that are handling corruption are not able to get to the bottom of it. Tell me, 2012, 2016, 2020, 2024, how many people have been jailed because of corruption? In this Fourth Republic, how many people have been jailed because of corruption? Isn't corruption going on? Do we not know it? Do we not see it? You know, we have to have the urge to want to do something about it. But it doesn't look as if we have the urge. As President Kufuor said, we pretend to do what? We pretend to pay people.
And they also pretend to work.
We pretend to work. Sometimes you ask yourself, how do people survive in this country? Because when you look at the kinds of salaries that people are taking, you ask yourself, how do they survive? So it is endemic in the society, and something has to be done about it. I don't see anything wrong if the special prosecutor loses cases. Then others will come and use it as a test that because he's losing cases, that particular institution is not working.
But has it really lived up to its mandate? Almost 8 years.
How many?
Setting it up.
Well, the wheels of justice grind slowly, and it takes time to bring cases to court. It takes a lot of investigation.
There was,
when it so happens that you are not funded fully, it makes it even take longer. And the Special Prosecutor's Office has not been funded fully within these 8 years. It hasn't. So I'm sure there are some cases that have been there and are still on their books because they don't have the wherewithal to take it to court.
Then why shouldn't we have channeled those funds, additional funds that we're giving the Special Prosecutor's Office to the other statutory agencies?
Well, if we have...
on the basis of wheels of justice going slow.
If we think that other institutions, having been able to live up to prosecuting corruption cases, and we feel that the Special Prosecutor can do it, then let's fund the Special Prosecutor to do it and do it well. Let's fund him. Are we then also saying that the current Special Prosecutor does not have the capacity and capability
No, he doesn't have
to handle these cases? Is that what we're saying? Is that an issue that we need to look at? How do we describe somebody we put in place as a Special Prosecutor? What are some of the things that they need to have to be able to prosecute and prosecute well? What are some of the criteria? What was the criteria President Akufo-Addo used in choosing the current Special Prosecutor? Maybe some of these things we should look at to make sure that we have the right people in place. Was Senior Amidou, was he the right person to be there, to be a Special Prosecutor at the time? Was he the kind of person? What's the criteria? Maybe we need to look at that criteria again to see that we can get the right person to sit in that chair to prosecute corruption cases, because corruption is a canker.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you. You have something to say?
Yes.
Just have a minute to go.
Yes, I was just about to add that with all the things Senior was saying, if we add all those resources to the resources of the Attorney General, won't it have helped the Attorney General?
The Attorney General is overworked.
Yes, again, no. It means that after a while we'll have another. Apart from OSP, we'll have something else that I think that they can handle it. Finally, at the beginning of the program, my mic was not working well. Natty boy, my younger brother, happy birthday.
Okay, happy birthday to you, and happy birthday to your minority leader as well. Today's his birthday, Alexander Kwame Nafenga-Makin. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, Ghana's minority leader. You said my minority.
Your minority leader.
Ghana's minority leader. Happy birthday,
you failed to wish him, so I just wanted to draw your attention.
You see now how he's quick inspired.
You failed to wish your Osahin.
He's in a different camp.
Happy birthday, Osahin.
He's in a different camp.
So no minority leader.
He's in a different camp.
I don't want to pitch him anywhere.
No.
But we are safe.
I say you, not him. You.
No. But if it's on that basis, then they are in the same camp. Anyway,
I'm saying that we are safe.
You have a camp there already.
All I'm saying is that we are safe.
You see,
you have a camp there already.
That's good. He is a member of the NPP communications team. Theophilus Dzimega Jr. He says the junior was imported, but we still. He's a member of the NDC communications team, and Kwame Jantuah Esquire is a leading member of the Convention People's Party. My name is Lily Mohammed, the journalist. I am back shortly. Stay with me.
GHOne OV van has been one of the best vans I've used personally in this country. It runs a system where we are able to run on Dante to be able to do our broadcast mixed well also from this van.
I've used this OB van for quite a number of big productions, i.e. 3 music awards, the late President Rollis' state funeral, Miss Africa awards, and a number of them.
My experience with the GHOne van has been the state of the art equipment they have. Personal experience is you can use it for both indoor and outdoor, all events, conferencing, like anything you need a van to work for you, GHOne provides it. My
experience with the van has been very good. Why? Because it has a number of facilities that I may not get in other vans. You know, the van has a very wide bench that can accommodate all my technical crew. ICC, switcher, graphics, CG, and all of that. And then it also has a studio, a green room studio that comes with TriCaster. So if you want somebody to do commentary on a live event, you can put that presenter who's in that studio as well and get that running.
To give an experience to our audience, we're also watching on TVs and online. Work with an Exo technology system, which makes your video mixing with Panasonic cameras, like a lot of other stuff in terms of content you need to get also for your live broadcasts.
I prefer the GHOne van to a lot of other vans I've used, or even doing my own setup on a tabletop setup. Because on a production you see a number of people in the van. And so if you have a very small van, it means that it's going to be choked. and that will affect the creativity as well. The price has been discounted as well to accommodate varied budgets, and so no matter the budget you have, I understand you can have the track and do business with it.
It looks huge, but very affordable. Cost is really, really affordable. My experience with this EMI awards last year, super excellent. Try it, call them, and I'm going to give you the best of price. Really affordable.
You're welcome back to the show. This is still GH Today here on GHOne TV. I am Lily Mohammed. Let's talk about maintaining peace and security. In a couple of days, we'll be celebrating UN Peacekeeping Day, and it's imperative that we talk about how their contributions have impacted global peace and security. And my guest this morning is Brigadier General Augustine Asiedu. He's Director General, Defense Industries Department. Good morning to you, sir.
I don't think that they gave you correct listen.
Okay.
Okay. My name is Brigadier General Augustine Asiedu. I'm the Director General of Inspector General's Department.
Okay.
I used to be the Director General for International Peace Support Operation. I handed over that appointment in about 2 weeks ago.
Okay. So now you are Director
General for Director General for what do you call it? Department. That is a new department that was established about 10 years ago.
Okay, let's talk about peacekeeping and the essence of peacekeeping. Many say that, well, it's just to go there, spend time, make money, and come back. What has been the essence of peacekeeping over the years?
Actually, peacekeeping mentality is not actually to go and make money per se. But in a way, as soldiers, when you go, we are paid in some money that improves our lives. But that is not the aim of any peacekeeper. The cardinal point is that if we are going on peacekeeping, we go through training. And training is for you to go through the process of maintaining peace in the whole world. You go on peacekeeping, a lot of things are done in the conflict areas to be able to protect civilians and the vulnerable. And it's not a small thing that it's a mere say that you are going to look for money. If it's money, because there's also risks involved, that we have lost some soldiers in the past years. And it's a great number of soldiers that we have lost. And so comparing the money that we get and the losing of human life. So when you are going, it's not a matter of going to look for money, but rather you are going to do the job that is ascribed to you with a mandate, and maybe you also come back with some small money that is given to you that will improve your life.
Since you talk about the money to improve your life, it means that there are teething challenges. What are these challenges that peacekeepers generally go through?
First, in Ghana, before you are even nominated, we don't just nominate anybody. We nominate people who are physically strong, go through the training for about 6 weeks at Bondasi training camp. You go through physical training and all those things. And even if you don't pass your physical training test, you'll be dropped, not for you to go. And you go into the mission area, there's a great risk. Some of the areas you are on 2 occasions. You go freely, once a while there's sharing and that type of. But this one is a continuous sharing that you can be in a bunker for close to about 20 days, 1 month, you'll be in a bunker, not going anywhere. When there's law in battle, then you come out to ease yourself or take a rest or whatever. It has not been very pleasant for troops, especially operating in Lebanon. In other areas like Sudan, I was there in March, and my sister, it is not a matter of saying that it's only money that you are going to look for. The weather situation is one thing that is very disturbing. Very, very hot. But what can you do? You have to operate to make sure that you maintain the peace that we are assigned to maintain.
You mentioned bunker. What is a bunker? I mean, for people who are watching.
Bunker is an underground structure that is designed, is created with proof at the top to protect you. In case of any sharing with long-range firing and all those things, all the troops within a locality will move into that underground bunker, and you will stay there for so many months. It can be whatever, but that place, food is provided there. You have some snacks, you have water, you have everything there underground. That you can be there until the situation improves. Then they communicate to you underground that the situation is improved. You can come out now. Other than that, you can be there for 1 month. You'll still be there.
But how has it been for you as peacekeepers? I mean, people go in there and families throw their hands in despair that you may not even come back.
Oh, I believe that because of the training that we go through, Ghanaian peacekeepers or Ghanaian soldiers are professional soldiers, that's I may say. So anybody going, you don't just pick anybody and the weak ones or whatever. We pick people who are professionally trained and people who are strong enough to withstand certain stress level. So when they go, it's not a matter of you are going to die, you will not die. And I believe that by the God's grace that my Ghanaians have performed marvelously in all the peacekeeping operations that we have undertaken, and has even excelled. And only once a while we have some few casualties, and that, but it's minimal.
Let's talk then about the success rate of Ghanaians' involvement in resolving conflicts elsewhere. What's been the success rate? What has been your contributions?
I would say, for one, I personally have operated in so many missions. I was in Liberia, and I was also in Sierra Leone, even in Africa. I would say that Ghana's contribution during Liberian crisis was marvelous. Ghanaians and Nigerians spearheaded the operation, and it was through our effort that now Liberia is having a peaceful country, that there's a president. Even in Sierra Leone, we also operated that. It's through our effort that Sierra Leone is also now peaceful. The other places that Ghanaian soldiers in Africa, that the Ghanaian soldiers are operating, Guinea-Bissau and Gambia, that Ghanaian soldiers are operating, and they are performing excellently. And I can say that our achievements in the globally has been marvelous. Wherever Ghanaian soldiers have operated, there has been success, honestly. It's only in Lebanon that it has been a prolonged conflict that the international community is in it, that they are trying to solve the problem amicably. But I know that it's going to be a challenge with the recent escalations.
What then can we do differently in resolving these conflicts?
I would say that with the current situation now, GHOne is facing a lot of challenges. Some of the challenges are in terms of finances. Some of the challenges are lack of equipment for the troops and that type of thing. But I would say that now there's a new dimension on peacekeeping. Now you have to be multifaceted, multi-dimensional. That a lot of players or actors have to come in, especially the local population or the government should be involved.
Right.
Where we have the conflict, which must involve the community, the civil organizations should be part of the negotiations so that it can go forward more. Aside that, I would say that GHOne now, looking at the trend now with the budget dwindling, it is going to be a challenge somehow. But the 2023 Peacekeeping Ministerial conference that was held in Ghana, we proposed certain measures that have to be taken, and I know that measures is yielding results.
What were some of these measures?
That we have to involve more actors in peacekeeping. This and that the political line should be involved, the UN should be involved, then the civil organizations should be involved, and it should even include women peacekeepers, include the Nadambes. And women peacekeeping, yes, and it is yielding results.
Is it a challenge to take women for peacekeeping?
It is not a challenge in some areas, but in some areas it is a challenge. A typical example is in Lebanon. I've been in Lebanon on 2 occasions, in 1995 thereabout. I used to go with women and few women, but we realized that women have some qualities that when you deploy them, especially to go out to talk to people, they listen more to the women as compared to men. Right. So if you get more women involved to go into the fort to talk to the community, they listen more as compared to men. On the other hand, we know that the women has some qualities and the men have some qualities. When it becomes to where firing is frying every now and then, some of the women cannot withstand the stress. So in a way, when the situation escalates, we need to reduce the number of women that we deploy in the fort. Currently, women that we deploy in the fort as compared to the past 2 years in Lebanon has reduced somehow. Because of that, we are supposed to even meet some target with the LC initiative. That has also affected Ghana. Because when we started about 3 years ago in Lebanon, we went beyond the expected target, that 15%. We deploy about 18%. The following year, we deploy about 20%. But the third year, because of the escalation, we reduced the women's participation. That has brought up the deficiency. But they were expecting a gradual increment on the women participation in Lebanon. That is what has happened. But we know that they are still doing well. Ghanaian troops in Lebanon are doing well, and UN is appreciative of what UN is the Ghanaian troops are doing.
Let's talk about the UN Peacekeeping Day, which is 2 days away. What are some of the things that you're doing to commemorate this day?
Actually, we have a lot of plans.
Okay.
There will be a flag raising ceremony that will be held on 29th May this year at the forecourt of the State House.
Okay.
Again, there's tree planting, reflowing ceremony, and photo exhibition. All of them will be done on the same day at the what they call
tree planting. You say?
Yeah, tree planting.
How many trees are you targeting?
Actually, there are a lot that we are, and this is in commemoration of the fallen heroes.
Right.
Yes, fallen heroes.
So a tree for a life.
For life, yes.
Okay.
That is it. And I was talking about this women participation. I just want to make Ghanaians be aware that for the first time in the history of UN and the first time in the history of Africa, we have a first African female head of mission in Syria with the name Major General Anita Asma. She's the first African female officer to be deployed as the head of mission and the force commander.
Okay.
And also the second globally as a female head of mission.
That's something to celebrate.
Yes.
Even for me as a woman.
Yes. So it's an achievement.
Yeah, it is. I mean, kudos to her.
Yeah.
We wish her all the best. But you're giving me an itinerary of things that you'll be doing. You'll be doing a flag raising. You'll be doing tree planting. What else? Then
again, we will have a photo exhibition too on the same day.
Okay.
Then we are doing this media campaign. As I'm sitting down here, it's part of the media campaign. Some of my colleagues are also in other FM stations talking about UN participation in UN peacekeeping missions and what we have been achieving. And that is what we are doing to make Ghanaians be aware of the roles that the peacekeepers are playing globally, and especially Ghanaians are playing in other African countries and the whole world in general.
Let's look at the theme for the celebration, the future of peacekeeping. What does this reflect to you, especially for somebody who's been on previous peacekeeping missions?
Actually, if you look at peacekeeping, the UN key role is to protect, provide security, peace and security globally. And if you look at peacekeeping, as we are trying to bring peace to the world, tensions and the number of peacekeeping operations is increasing for the past 2 years. So this year, the theme is the future of peacekeeping, strengthening partnership and multilateralism in Ghana and beyond. And the reason why we chose this theme is that globally, the conflict for a long term is high. The number of armed conflicts reaching a record in 2023. So because of that, Ghana, we are calling on everybody to be on board, to be aware, and bringing other players to be part of the peacekeeping effort, and also to draw the attention that as conflicts are increasing, especially in the Sahel regions, what they call it, part of Asia, and even in Lebanon and other areas, the challenges are increasing, especially the funding for UN is also dwindling. It's also a key factor that is affecting peacekeeping globally. So that is the issue that we want to everybody should be aware of, and also find ways of funding peacekeeping globally.
There's something I've always wondered about the military. Is there a policy where the military does not frequently communicate? Because very often when things happen, we expect communication from the military, yet we don't get it. Is there a policy like that?
Actually, in the Ghana Armed Forces, we have a policy on communication. Anything that is supposed to go out, we have a department that is a Department of Public Relations.
Okay.
They have to release that policy or whatever information that has to go out. It's not everybody who can get up and talk to the public or talk to the media.
Okay.
I, for one, I'm sitting down here, I was mandated, I was sent by the military high authority to come here and to stand for the Ghana forces. Other than that, it's not everybody who can be in the public and be talking to the media, talking to the public on things concerning the Ghana forces. But anything that we think that the public should know, is the Department of Public Relations, the Ghana forces, that is supposed to come out with this information. But if you can remember, recently, there has been a change slightly as compared to the olden days. Olden days, hardly will you hear anything about the Ghana forces. But recently, I can see, even in the social media and other places, that the public relations releases certain information to the public, that we have now been open. We have opened our arms to the public to know certain things about the Ghana. But some of the informations are classified.
Okay.
So it's not everything that can be released to the public. That is the reason.
I say this on the back of certain videos that have circulated, even during the electioneering period, where we saw a civilian attack a military officer, and we didn't hear anything from the military high command. Was there a particular reason?
Actually, there are certain information that the military didn't want to come out with it.
Okay.
But if you do that, we are instigating our soldiers against the public. Military men, we are civilians include in uniform.
Okay.
So they are brothers, they are sisters, you don't have to maltreat them. But that incident during the election time was unfortunate.
Okay.
Because on no situation or occasion will you attack a military personnel. Actually, the military, man, there were other people there that they could have done other things, and it wouldn't be too good for the country. So I think that the soldier played a very low key in order to avoid certain situations. That is why it happened that way. But the Ghana forces, all the information that are supposed to come to the public knowledge. Recently, we have taken a stand that whatever information that is to go to the public relations department will release it.
Would you also agree that the military, as we speak, is gradually becoming politicized?
I don't agree with you in that line. But you know, the military is under the political wing of the country. Any government has control over the military and the security services. So to me, it is not that the military is becoming political. Military is apolitical, and but we accept whatever directives that comes from the government. And when there's the need for the military high command to go and talk to the government, they move and talk to the government on certain lines that are not made known to the public. So it's not that the military is becoming political, no.
Another thing that has been bugging my mind over the period is something that appears as though trigger happy professionals in the service.
Trigger happy, the circumstances that occur, especially if they make reference to the December election time when the soldier was attacked by civilians. Professionally, I would say that the soldier, in a way, shouldn't have allowed himself to go into that situation, because we have a role that we play. Every soldier who is assigned for duty is supposed to carry weapon, and soldiers move in pairs. So that in the northern part, Boku areas,
I am from Boko.
yes,
so
Boku areas and that type of thing. Not that the people are losing confidence in the decision, but at times the military people who are deployed there also assess the situation. If they are to go into critical combat with the people, it will not be too good for the community. So at times they say, let's withdraw, let our leaders talk to the leadership of the community for peace to prevail. Because if they are to use force, we may encounter so many casualties, especially on the side of the civilians. So they just play it low and let their leaders talk to the leadership of the community for them to solve the problem amicably. Other than that, if every situation there's a trigger happy for us to fire, a lot of people would have gone into the ground by now. But certain times, as a leader, you have to calm your people down. Then the leadership will take the role of talking to the community, talking to those involved for peace to prevail.
What will be your word to the people out there watching you? I mean, who over the period have garnered the compulsion that, well, we are losing confidence in the military?
I want to talk to all Ghanaians and the general public that Ghanaian officers and soldiers in the Ghana Armed Forces are professional soldiers trained to protect the country. I want the civilians to know that you don't need to attack a soldier who is performing his or her duties.
Right.
So when there's any situation that will warrant you attacking a soldier, it is not too good for the country.
Okay.
Take it easy, talk to the leadership of the team. Every team that we deploy in the field as a leader. If you have any objection to whatever anybody is doing, look for the leadership of that team and talk to the leader. And the leader will be able to solve the problem amicably. Instead of you attacking a soldier or trying to use force on a soldier. If they retaliate, it will not be too good for the country and we may encounter a lot of casualties. So that is why I'm advising Ghanaians that when there's a situation like this, please calm down, look for the leadership of the team. Even if you deploy 2 or 3 people, there's one person who is a leader.
Okay.
Normally they go in batches, session, platoon, and that type of thing. Look for the leadership and talk to the leader, and the leader will be able to calm the situation and try to trash it amicably by using his expertise as a leader to make sure that peace prevails in any situation.
Now, quickly before I let you go, the UN Peacekeeping Day, is it open to the public? Can anybody attend? Or is it just a preserve for the military?
UN Peacekeeping
Day, the day that you're celebrating on 29th.
Yes, it's open to the public. It's open to the public in the state out in front of people. You can come and observe whatever is going on. It's open to the public.
Okay. Okay, what time does it start?
I think it will start at 0800 hours in the morning. That's 8
a.m.
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you very much for coming.
I also thank the public for giving me this opportunity to come and share our knowledge with you. Thank you very much.
And to know that the military is your friend, like they say, the police is your friend.
Okay.
So that's Brigadier General Augustine Garcia. We are back shortly after this breather. Please stay tuned in. Back to the show. This is still GH Today here on GHOne TV. I am Lily Mohammed. Now, every mother knows that sweet moment when your baby falls asleep, but what happens when a wet diaper ruins that particular sleep for your baby? I used to wake up to wet sheets and a crying baby until I found Flora Kids baby diaper. With its maximum absorbent layers, my baby stays dry all night, and the stretchy side tapes give the perfect fit. So my baby is comfortable no matter how much he moves or plays. Flora Kids baby diaper is gentle on the skin, keeping it soft and smooth. Now my baby wakes up with smiles, not tears. Get yours today in stores nationwide, or for bulk purchases, you can simply call Delta Paper Mill on 0243 033 033 0243 033 033. On that note, let's do some celebrations.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Emanuela Arthur. Wishing you an amazing day filled with love. May this new year bring you joy, success, and unforgettable memories and moments. Have a blast celebrating and making memories that shine. Hey. Sissy, on your special day, I want to thank you for being such an incredible sister. Here's to another year of adventures together. Much love from your little brother, Green.
Today is a special day. Every day.
Today, I celebrate an extraordinary woman, my wife, my best friend, the mother of our beautiful children, Mrs. Chief Ruthiana. Special one from all of us to the Minority Leader of Ghana's Parliament and Member of Parliament for the Efutu constituency, Osahin Alexander Kwame Apengo Marking. We wish you all the best, sir. Happy birthday to you. And to you out there, if you're celebrating your birthday, we say happy birthday to you. If you're marking any significant milestone, we say congratulations to you on behalf of the entire team. So that's it. Happy birthday to the Minority Leader in Ghana's Parliament, Osahin Alexander Kwame Apengo Marking, Esquire. Stay blessed, and may the Almighty keep guiding and protecting you. Have a great one. From all of us here at GHOne TV and the GH Today team, we say happy birthday to you, sir. Have a joyous day. That's it for the show. My name is Lily Mohammed. I am back at 11:30 with Newsroom. Good morning.
GHOne OV van has been one of the best vans I've used personally in this country. It runs a system where we are able to run on Dante to be able to do our broadcast mixed well also from this van.
I've used this OB van for quite a number of big productions, i.e. 3 music awards, the late President Rollis' state funeral, Miss Africa Awards, and a number of them.
My experience with the GHOne van has been the state of the art equipment they have. Personal experience is you can use it for both indoor and outdoor, all events, conferencing, like anything you need a van to work for you, GHOne provides it.
My experience with the van has been very good. Why? Because it has a number of facilities that I may not get in other vans. You know, the van has a very wide bench that can accommodate all my technical crew, ICCU, switcher, graphics, CG, and all of that. And then it also has a studio, a green room studio that comes with TriCaster. So if you want somebody to do commentary on a live event, you can put that presenter who's in that studio as well and get that running.
To give an experience to our audience, we're also watching on TVs and online. Work with an Exo technology system, which makes your video mixing with Panasonic cameras, like a lot of other stuff in terms of content you need to get also for your live broadcasts.
I prefer the GHOne van to a lot of other vans I've used, or even doing my own setup on a tabletop setup. Because on a production, you see a number of people in the van. And so if you have a very small van, it means that it's going to be choked, and that will affect the creativity as well. The price has been discounted as well to accommodate varied budgets. And so no matter the budget you have, I understand you can have the track and do business with it.
It looks huge, but very affordable. Cost is really, really affordable. My experience with it, EMI Awards last year, super excellent. Try it, call them, and I'm going to give you the best of price. Really affordable.